Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
And I told you guys I had a very, very special guest with me today, all the way from Canada. He is Chris Jericho. Let me give it up for Chris. How's it going, man?
I'm actually talking to you on location in Toronto. We're at a WWE Live event tonight, and I left the dressing room and walked all the way back to find a secluded area just for you, Booker T, just to talk to you, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate that, man. You had a match tonight, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, in Toronto. Actually, it was a sold-out show, and that's not an old Rock and Roll Express exaggeration.
Sold out.
It's people hanging from the rafters, man. You know, we popped the territory tonight. But, it was a sold-out show in Toronto, which is always nice. So it was a good time.
You know, man, I admire you, Chris. Still out there in the war zone, all those wars that we had back in the day. I always say that you was perhaps my arch rival. You know, a lot of people don't know that, but Chris Jericho, I tell everybody that you was the guy that I loved to go out there and perform in the middle of the ring with. And reason why, you was just like me in a sense. You wanted to be the best, more importantly, but second to that was you wanted to go out there and make that match something special. You didn't mind putting yourself in a great position for me every time to make that happen. So I don't know if I've told you in all those years, man, but I really do appreciate all those great moments me and you had in those back in the day.
Thank you for saying that, man. It's very cool to hear, and I feel the same way. And it's funny, when I think back of working with you, it was always, we did some stuff on TV, and we had some good TV, but I always just think of you more. We worked so many times on live events.
Yeah.
For months and months and months, especially in WCW, when I guess neither one of us really had a program, so they just stuck us together. And we had great, great matches with the same attitude. You just want to make the other guy look as good as you can. We had some fun. We laughed. DiCaprio, which is a kind of a private joke between you and I, but we always had a good time out there, man. And it's always cool to hear that, and I appreciate it. And actually, honestly, that's the reason why when you asked me to do your show tonight, it's like, absolutely, you know, whatever you need, man. It's like an old war buddy. You need a favor or whatever it is, I'm there for you. So, absolutely, it's always a pleasure to get in there with you. Because you're so damn athletic. You're like 9 feet tall. If you could do any idea that I came up with, you could do it. And I always thought that was fun.
Always fun, man. And I tell these young guys, man, it's the attitude they need. Back in the day, it was always, like I said, we were friends, but it was always about going out there and being the best, being at the top of the show, working in the main event, making the most money, putting ourselves in a great position to walk away from this thing. And that's what I want to talk to you about right now, is setting yourself up to walk away from this business, Chris. You've done a whole lot already. I mean, you talk show, you know, the band thing. Talk to me, what's your exit strategy, man? How long you been thinking about your exit strategy?
Well, you know, the honest answer to that is I haven't really thought about it, because I've always kind of gone on the lines of a lot like you and some of the other guys. I never wanted to have wrestling run my life.
Yeah.
If I was wrestling, it's just because I want to, because I enjoy it, because I have fun with it. And that's kind of my attitude. So, and actually, to be quite honest with you, not to be cliched or whatever, but I think about 5 years ago or 4 years ago, I got a herniated disc in my back, and it was really messed up. And I started doing DDP yoga, of all things, with Diamond Dallas Page's yoga. And I'm telling you, it turned my entire body around to where I feel better now than I did 10 years ago. And, you know, the cliche of age is just a number on a page. It really is for me, because I can remember at 34 or 35 getting out of bed every morning feeling like I was like 80 or 90.
Yeah.
You know the feeling, your knees hurt or your neck. Meanwhile, when I started doing the yoga, it kind of opened me up. And as I realized, like, I'm never really hurt. And I'm not saying that I won't just explode in a puff of dust someday. But for right now, I still enjoy being out there. I love working with the new crop of guys, because they have the same attitude that you and I and kind of our generation of guys did. And my body feels great. So I'll know when it's time. You know, I'll know when it's time. When I feel that I can't perform at the level that I've set for myself, then I'll bow out gracefully, but on my terms, and not have to worry about it. That's kind of the attitude that I got.
You know, I beg to differ, though, Chris. I think you have been working on an exit strategy. Maybe you don't realize it, but most of the wrestlers don't have, talk show host experience. Most of the guys don't, not the lead of the band. Most of these guys aren't working on their third book right now.
Fourth book.
The fourth book or third book?
It's the fourth book.
Fourth book.
Fourth book. I'm working on my third one. What am I thinking about? I'm trying to get
That's
you.
why you had me here, Book.
I'm giving you my stat. What am I thinking? No. Most of the guys aren't thinking that way. You know what I mean? What made you?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, that is a great point, and you're right. I mean, you're exactly right about that. I think I started this back probably in about 2000 or 2002 or 3, and the reason why is because when I first. When I was a kid, I wanted to do two things. I wanted to be in a rock band and I wanted to be a wrestler. And when I started being 5'11" in 1990, it was about big guys. So I knew I could never be the biggest guy on the show, but I knew I could have the biggest charisma and the biggest personality and the biggest character. So I always treated wrestling like an acting performance.
Yeah.
Yes, I could do the bumps, and yes, I could have the matches, but to me, it was always about what kind of a character can I play? What kind of a reaction?
It was like you were auditioning.
Yeah, auditioning, and then also, okay, I'm auditioning, and then now I've got the gig, and now I'm really going to hone in on this character, whether it was, Lionheart in Japan, or Corazon de Leon in Mexico, or the different carnations of Chris Jericho, and because, like I said, I always treated it like I'm more than just a wrestler in my mind. I'm in showbiz. I'm like an entertainer. I'm like a vaudevillian. Guy from the '60s that can sing and dance. And
what you are, Chris? You're the modern day Renaissance man.
Well, I mean, thanks for saying that, man. I think at this point, maybe I am, but that's because I always had an open mind for like for example, when I did Dance with the Stars, the first 2 times they asked me, I had no interest, and then the third time I realized I could really push myself as an artist. Not to sound too hippie, but wrestling is art, music is art, writing is art, and dancing is art as well. And I thought if I could really push myself on this, that can really help me as a performer. And then plus the exposure that you get from doing something that puts you through the roof as well. But yeah. I just never had any inhibitions to go out there and try something that I knew deep inside my heart I could do. And I think a lot of people have those fears the same way that we had fears when we first started. Can I make it in the wrestling business? I don't know. It's scary, but I'm going to try. And that's kind of the same thing that I had for everything that you see me doing, which all comes from the basis of all I wanted to do was be in a rock and roll band and be a wrestler. I did both of those, so what else can I do? How about this? How about that? And that's kind of where it all came from, knowing that I didn't want to be wrestling when I was, 50, or unless I want to.
Yeah.
Unless it's my decision.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to have to worry about going to the high school gyms and working there. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I didn't want to have to go that route. I wanted to be able to step out kind of when I'm at my best and move on to the next thing.
Definitely. Let's talk about the next thing, which was Fozzy. How long you been doing that, and how's it going right now with the group?
We've been doing it now. It's kind of been 2 incarnations of Fozzy. There was the first incarnation, which was just kind of a side project, fun thing that we did for the first few years. But since about 2010 is when the band's really taken off, because that's when I kind of made it my full-time gig. Wrestling kind of took a back seat to that. And, we're doing great, man. We're getting ready to go on tour with Kiss at the end of October. And then we head back over to Europe and the UK in November, December. So there's a lot of great stuff coming up, but a lot of hard work as a result. But it's cool to see, like you say, when you're touring with a band like Kiss. I mean, you don't need much more validation than that.
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much tells you made it, man. That's an endorsement.
Yeah, I mean, that has to be an incredible feeling for you. I mean, I remember, going in, my best friend's dad had this record collection. He had Kiss Alive, right? And I remember we put it on the Newmark, belt-driven turntable and got to hear it for the first time. And I remember I was enthralled with, Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley. And I know you've talked to Paul Stanley on your show before. How crazy is it, though, you're about to go on tour with Kiss?
Well, and that's I'm talking to Gene too. I was in Gene's house doing that, talking to him, and that's that's the cool thing about being in this position of having this podcast and having this band. And we've had to work twice as hard to get respect in Fozzy because I'm in the band. So a lot of people think, oh, it's just a wrestling thing, or this guy can't be any good. But then once we get people's respect, there's a buzz there, and people are like, man, these guys are actually really damn good. You should check it out. And that's kind of what led us to the Kiss thing. I mean, yes, I'm friends with Paul and to a smaller extent with Gene, but they had nothing to, I'm sure they had to approve it, but it's not like Paul and I had a discussion of like, hey, can I do the cruise? It was more like we got the call from the booking agent, and, they checked us out, and they had seen what we do, and we kind of were asked to join the lineup, and that's a testament to our band, and it's very gratifying, and it's very cool. And I remember stepping into the WCW locker room on the first Nitro I ever did in Palmetto, Florida, at the Manatee Civic Center.
Wow.
Booker was there, and I'm walking into the dressing room, and I'm seeing. Just open a random dressing room door, and I walk in, and there's Randy Savage, and there's Ric Flair, and there's Sting, and there's Luger, and there's Arn Anderson. And it's just like walking into this room, and I had a 1-second moment of just like, oh my gosh, freak out, total mark out, and then, okay, now I'm a pro. I am now in this locker room as a peer for these guys. And you just have to start gaining their respect. And that's what it's like when you go on tour with Kiss. Yes, you can go, we're on tour with Kiss, but now it's our mission to destroy Kiss and make sure they remember who we are. And maybe when there's another tour, we'll get a chance to go out with them again.
That reminds me of, back in the day, God rest his soul, on the great Dusty Rhodes. I had a match, and it was a house show. And I was first match, I'm going through my routine as usual, my jump rope, getting ready, getting psyched up, getting my 2 Red Bull in me, getting ready to go out here and do this thing. And I went out and I performed, and I can't even remember who I was working. It really didn't matter because I don't know where he's at, but I know where I'm at. I went out and I rocked it. I tore the house down. I went out there and made sure I got that guy a cone track more than anything. And then when I walked back through that curtain, I remember Dusty Rhodes saying, and I'll never forget it to the day I die, he said, they won't put you on first no more. And that right there let me know that, man, I got a shot at this right now, and definitely you got to have that same feeling. Going out before Kiss performing, to open up the act for them, let's go out here and show these guys, we're not the opening act, we really are the main event, we just didn't tell them.
That's exactly right, and make people realize that, wow, that was good, because I think a lot of it is just in your attitude. You could go out there and act like an opening match guy or act like an opening band, or you can take control and make it happen. And either they're going to reel you back in a bit and say, "Hey guys, tomorrow night don't climb to the top of the lighting rig.
Yeah.
Don't do this and don't do that."
You want them to pull you back. You go out there as far as you can, and then you let them pull you back. So that way you can always apologize. You know what I mean? Sometimes apologizing might get you fired, especially with me. But hold on, I got a couple more things I want to talk about your 4th book, and I got a couple more things I want to talk to you about. Stick with this show definitely. But Chris, let's get right into it. Your 4th book coming out. What is it about?
Yeah, well, I mean, I wrote 3 New York Times best-selling autobiographies, and
you know what? I forgot to get that in there. 3 New York best.
Of course. I've been wrestling for 25 years. You got to put yourself over whenever you can. You know that. Did I mention that they're best-selling?
Yeah, you did mention that too.
Just want to make sure. But I kind of treat it like a trilogy. Like it was kind of like the Star Wars trilogy. There's a beginning, there's a middle, and an end. Gotcha. So when they were asking me, well, do you want to do another book? I was like, yes, but it needs to be something different. So kind of what we were talking about earlier and about how I had all of these interesting dreams where I wanted to be in a band or I wanted to be, in a wrestler. And so many people telling me that you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it. And yet here I am doing it. And so I'm kind of giving this little bit of like a self-help book, kind of detailing the steps of what you need to do to achieve your goals in life through the eyes of Chris Jericho. And that's the basic concept of it. So I didn't want to do another autobiography. Maybe I'll save that for the future. But right now it's more of like, how are you doing all this stuff? How did you make it happen? Well, this is how it happened. I had this principle, I had this thought, I had this goal, I had this idea, and kind of make it more of a self-help motivational book.
Tony Robbins-esque.
Exactly, absolutely, exactly. Just a short version of him. I'm like the stumpy Tony Robbins.
Hey, man, I like it, man. Got to be versatile in this business. I'm working on my 3rd book, and it's about fatherhood. I thought.
Well, see, there you go, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I know a little bit about that.
Pick a topic that people wouldn't expect you to write about, but it's something that you know what you're talking about. And I think people are interested in that. There's, if you read like a book by Bill Maher or a book by, Chelsea Handler has a lot of different books, and they write about just certain topics. And that's better than doing a whole autobiography because there's only so many stories that can actually happen to you within a 3 or 4 year period. Whereas you're talking about fatherhood, you're talking about, motivational book or whatever it may be, that gives you a lot of legs. So you could do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books. And that's kind of my goal, to just do about certain topics and kind of extend this into another full-time career whenever I feel the urge to write a book, and I'll have a subject to write about rather than just telling the story of my life over and over again.
Gotcha. This is Heated Conversation on Sports Radio 60 and on the line with Chris Jericho. Let's talk about it, man. Let's go back 1 week to Houston, Texas, Toyota Center, Night of Champions. We all saw what you did. We ain't going to even talk about that. That's another story. Let's talk about that main event. And this is real talk. Heated Conversation Sports Radio 60, and we ain't just talking about wrestling just to be talking about wrestling. That's not something that we do on this show. But this is something real here. Sting versus Seth Rollins in the main event. Sting in there at 56 years old. And, the game is hard. We've been doing this a long time, 25 years for me, 25 years for you. That's 50 years right there of professional wrestling in the middle of I got to say, I'm 50. I just turned 50. I feel good. I look good. I even look even better. You know what I mean? You
can take a bump off of a board.
Yeah, I can take a bump off a board and get right back up. You know what I mean? It's something, good is good, but perfect is perfect, and that's exactly what I am. But that's another story. Let's talk about that match, man. Sting took the turnbuckle bomb, a relatively easy move, I think, from our disposition, something that we've been doing, like I say, falling many, many times and getting right back up is second nature to us. I was talking earlier about when I was in TNA for that short stint, I took a shot from Samoa Joe, bang in the back, and I felt a radiation twinge that went from my neck all the way to my toes, and I had to get myself together. I had to totally regroup and just take a break there for a second. It seemed like the same thing happened to Sting there. Where he got a stinger or something. I don't know. He's got something going on with his neck. We don't really know what the problem is. But the question is, should you be in that ring at 56 years old?
Well, once again, kind of talking about what we talked about before, I think that's up to you as a performer, how you feel. 56 is getting towards the kind of the end game, I would say, of even being anywhere near being safe. The thing is, though, Sting hasn't worked a lot recently.
Yeah.
He's in great shape, so maybe he can pull out a match every once in a while. I don't know about taking some of the bumps that you took. You know what I mean? I do know that, you're working with a younger guy, Seth Rollins, one of the best in the game, still in his 20s, I believe. All right, I'll take it. But I think sometimes reality steps in and something like that happens where your neck gets hurt or whatever it may be. It's a tough question, Book, because, I'm 44. Not even close to 56. So, last summer, I jumped off the top of the cage on top of Bray Wyatt on Raw. And the reason why I did it is basically just to see if I still could. I'd done it when I was 22 years old. And I thought, well, I'll give it a try at 43 and see what happens. And nothing happened. It was like, oh my God, Jericho at 43 jumps off the top of the cage. And it's like, of course. I mean, we're not just because you get older doesn't mean you're going to explode.
Yeah.
But still, your body is going to eventually stop allowing us to do these things. So at 56, I can't fathom working a main event championship match at 56. I actually think you got to give Sting a lot of credit for doing that and actually having a pretty good match. But sooner or later, we're all human beings. It's just the way it is. And to take like you're talking about how it's an easy bump to take in the corner. Sure it is, the power bomb and neck bump. But still, that's a move that a 56-year-old guy is taking. That's probably not the most safest thing to do. It's just that we think it's okay because we're wrestlers. That's what we do. That's no big deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can't say that Sting was crazy to do the match because I give him nothing but props. But for me, I can't imagine doing that. But, ask me in 12 years. If I still feel like I do right now, I'll be doing it. So, I don't really know where you draw the line. I mean, what do you think?
It's definitely one of those questions that I put myself in that position. I deal with a neck injury myself right now. I feel the numbness, in my thumb,
right.
Every now and then, and it makes me wonder, man, if I had to wrestle for another 5 years or 10 years or so, what kind of shape would I be in? I remember sitting in that dressing room, back in WCW when I first broke in, sitting next to, my idol, the great Chief Wahoo McDaniel, and, he could barely put his boots on, you know what I mean? And he could barely get his trunks on, but he still sucked it up to, get to that ring somehow to get that performance in, that one last pop. You know, the wrestler always say, we got one last run. You know what I mean? I got one last run in me. I know that. You know what I mean? I'm even right now politicking for one last WrestleMania match, Harlem Heat versus the Dudleys. I'm going to ride my brother's back all the way through that match if it happens. But I tell you, it's not something that I know I could actually go out there. I'm just going to be real. It's not something that I know I could go out there and sustain on a weekly basis. I know how hard these guys go out there and work, and I know Sting is not working at that level right there. But I know I could not, at this stage of my life, go out there and work or sustain that road schedule that these guys go through on a weekly basis. I even sit back sometime right now, Chris, actually, I just do the commentary thing, but I sit there and I see those guys come off the road, Monday after I've been at home, with my kids and whatnot, and they're coming off an overseas tour or something like that, and they look so tired, they look so beat up, and I go, wow, man, how do you guys do this? And literally, that's the way I think now. How do you guys do?
That was you, yeah.
And that was
and
me.
That's the thing. For me, like, my days of being a full-time performer in the WWE are long gone. And that's why you see me coming back in stints. Or right now, I'm working just live events. Yeah. I've been doing this for basically a year where I got 8 weekends off in the next 2.5 months. I'll just work the live events. And it's kind of it's funny because all the guys in the locker room hate me because, live events are so much fun. And then they have to go to TV, and I just go home. You would never think that way. But when you get to a certain level, I don't need to be on TV. I don't need to be on TV ever again. Yeah. But I still enjoy performing. I still enjoy performing in the ring. So I'll do the house shows, the live events, and then maybe come back for short stints of time. But it'll never be more than 4 months, maybe 6, and maybe not even that. It might only just be, I can see myself doing maybe 1 or 2 more runs on TV, and then just doing the live events when I feel like it, and then just kind of leave it at that. And when it's time to not do it anymore, the first day I do a match where I feel like, oh man, that was hard, or I can't jump in the air to do a drop kick to someone's face, or I can't do, the moonsault, or whatever it may be. I don't need a retirement tour. I don't need a final match. I don't need any of that stuff. I'll know the moment it's time to leave, and then I will take my boots and I'll take them off, and that'll be the end of it. And until then, I'm raring to go, and that might be tomorrow, or it could be when I'm 56, which I highly doubt. But like I said, as long as I'm feeling good and still enjoying it, then I'll continue to do it at my pace, on my terms, working with who I want to work with, and basically just call them. They probably hate me because I'm so very specific in what I'm going to do and not do, but I don't want to take any chances at this point. Yeah. I just want to have some fun.
Definitely. That's what it's all about, man. I just had to get your opinion on that right there. I gave my opinion on it. Hopefully, we won't see any more injuries, and hopefully Sting's okay. More than anything, hopefully it's just a stinger. No pun.
Stinger got a stinger?
Yeah, Stinger got a stinger.
But once again, too, Booker, if that is his last match, what a way to go out. A main event match for the championship.
Hey.
I would take that's good. I don't need to wrestle again. You know what I mean? I think that's a cool way for him to go out if this was his last match.
I said that too. Sting, I think, did what he needed to do more than anything, and that was perform inside of a WWE ring. Even if it was just one time, I think
I agree.
The journey would have been completed for Sting. And I think, like you said, he did a great job at Night of the Champions. I'm sure it wasn't the way he wanted to go out, but if it's any way that you can go out, definitely it was a cool way to do it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
But can we talk about real quick? Can we talk about you taking
we got to get Chris out. What are you talking about?
You took a spectacular.
Chris got to go.
Hold on. You took a.
Chris got to go get a shower.
But you took a spectacular.
Get ready to get a club. What are you talking?
You took a spectacular bump, Booker, and not on television, but you took a spectacular main event quality bump.
Well, let's talk about that. We got 3 minutes, just 2.5 minutes left. Let's talk about that.
Let me set the tone. Let me set the tone.
Go ahead.
Step in here.
Go ahead.
So I always love seeing Booker. I saw him this summer a few times. We did Tough Enough together, and then when I did the surprise, guest thing, and I was finished, and I came through, and I see Booker. So I go to talk to my friend, and he's like, 6 or 7 or 8 inches taller than usual. What the hell is he doing? And then I look, and he's standing on one of those motorized skateboards.
The T-Glide. They call it the T-Glide.
T-Glide, there you go. So he's just on a T-Glide, and he's just standing there talking. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I never need to walk again. I'll never walk again. So we're talking for a bit. I'm like, I still, just the fact that you're such a character, you're such a goofball, I still don't know why you're riding around on it, but I don't even bother asking anymore. So Booker's going to ride around on his little thing. That's cool. So I talked to him for a bit, congratulated him on the TV show for Reality of Wrestling, and we talked for a little bit more, and then he's got to go. I'm going to get out of here. So I change, or I'm talking to somebody else. He's coming down the rampway. All right, see you later, Book. We'll see you soon. And he's like, I never need to walk again. Never need to walk again. And he's riding on his little T-glide up the rampway in the Houston arena. And then I look away and talk to Pat Patterson for a second. I look back up, and Booker's fallen on the ground. He's
wait a minute.
Completely fallen.
Okay, now that's your story. You said I fail. Okay, I'm going to give the world a real story. I got 45 seconds to do it in. What happened was the battery was running down. It was bleeping. Beep, 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 beep. It was telling me to get off, but I said, I've walked only 50 steps all day. I think I can make it to the car. The battery went dead. It locked up on me. I took a bump. I did not fall. I took a bump. It's the difference between taking a bump and falling down. I'm a much better athlete than that, Chris. Give me a little credit. For God's sake, man. Please.
It was the best bump I've ever seen you take.
That's the story right there. Chris, appreciate you for coming on. Heat the conversation, brother.
Anytime, man. Thanks, Buck.
Love you, bro.
Talk to you.
All right, man. Guys, I told you I was going to have a special guest in the house tonight. Got the daddy in the house, y'all. Shaq Diesel. Give it up, y'all. How you doing, Shaq?
What's up, Booker T? Last time I saw you, Sugarland Highway 6, you had that chrome out Harley, and I had my little chromed out Titan, and we started riding together. People was looking at us, two big old black swole dudes on some chrome bikes.
Hey, man, you know, how you been, first and foremost, man?
I'm
because
good,
right now
brother.
you look like you're in the best shape of your life.
Yeah, I got my main man right here, my older brother, Rock, been training me. My thing is, look, I'm not going to be competing, but I can't have my belly over the belt like Barkley. So I just you can't do it. So I just had to,
TV ads
slim it
40
down.
pounds
Yeah,
already.
That's a shoot right there. I can tell,
so
man.
I had to slim it down.
You got the butt rising way up
Yeah,
high in the back. You know what I mean? You know,
And then-
that's definitely something you don't want. I always
But
think
then,
about that.
but then I was in the gym the other day, and I pulled my little shirt up. I saw a 4.2 pack. I'm like, you know, I might as well bring that thing to an 8 pack.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, might as well bring that thing to an 8 pack. You know, bring it back to that 96 shot.
You know, I'm a big believer, man. I just turned 53 years old March 1st, man. Now, you know, I'm still hanging and banging in the zone, man. I'm still in the gym training. First and foremost, man, I got 7-year-old twins, so I got to try to keep up with them. I always say my next championship goal is to walk my little girl down the aisle.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that right there is very, very important. Hey, man, what is your secret to your success, man? Because I see you got so much stuff going on, and everything I see you doing is always something that's got a feel-good moment. It's something you're happy, you're feeling good. What is your key, man?
I heard Dwight Eisenhower say one time, the greatest leaders are the ones smart enough to hire people smarter than them. So I own a lot of businesses that I'm capable of running, but I just hire people that are more capable than I am. Second is you listen. Like I have a panel of guys that are probably not as successful in the sports world or the monetary world as me, but I respect them so much that they're the only ones that could check me. Uncle Miles, Uncle Rock, Uncle Jerome, my boy Alex, and my mom and dad. So whenever they see me getting out of line, they can pull me to the side and say, "You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't say that." That keeps me humble. Because a guy like me who's done so well and done so much, I could easily go off the rockers and be like, F everybody. But you know, when you have normal people around you, it just keeps us normal. And my third thing is always saying to myself, it could be worse.
Yeah.
So I never take anything for granted. And I like making people smile, I like making people happy, and just trying to be a positive guy and just try to do the right thing.
You know, that's definitely the keys to one of my successes. I talk about that all the time. I've been having this young man beside me right here, Brad Gilmore. He's been with me since.
Oh, that's Brad?
That's Brad Gilmore.
I thought it was Leonardo DiCaprio.
Well, you like to fool people.
Hey, America, this dude, Brad, is a good-looking dude, America.
Ryan Seacrest. Anyone else, you know what I mean?
That's your new name, Seacrest DiCaprio.
I'll take it. If Diesel says so, I take it.
No, I got a lot of young guys around me. He's been with me since he was 18 years old. I got, so many other young cats. Because I try to stay relevant, and I always saying, staying relevant is really the key to one's success, especially after he's gone through it and seen so much, because young people are still coming up. You got to give them their props, but still to stay relevant within the storm, I think is very, very important. You've done that. You've done that very well. But you still seem like you want more, man. You're doing a podcast, and I would say, man, Shaq could be at home chilling. He could be on the golf course. You know what I mean? He could be doing so many things, but why still push yourself so hard?
Because I'm programmed to never be satisfied with what's going on. As a youngster, when I used to win, and I used to win a lot as a youngster, my father would let me celebrate one day. Take the trophy, look at it, next day I come back and it'll be gone. And with him being a drill sergeant, one rule in the house, don't ever question me. So I never questioned him. So finally when I got big time and, I was winning championships, I asked him, I said, why'd you used to take my trophies not low? He said, because I never want you to be satisfied. So that's just how I am. So like if I, right now I own 10 Krispy Kremes, it's not enough. I want 30 and I want 100. I started off at 124-hour fitness. I branched out to the ones in Orlando, Miami, used to own some in Houston, used to have one in Pearland. I ended up with 40. So not just because I'm trying to get richer, just because that's just how I'm programmed. And then he understands this. When you're a father, you want your kids to look at you as more than just what we've done in our, career. I'm sure he don't want his kids to look at him as the great Booker T. Washington. I make my kids call me Dr. O'Neal. I'm not Shaq in the house. I'm Dr. O'Neal. I'm a man with a high school, college, master's, and a doctoral degree. So that's how you address me when you speak to me, Dr. O'Neal. And so I always want my kids to be proud. Because my parents didn't have a lot, but they made me proud. Like my mom was a hard worker. I'm super proud. My dad was a drill sergeant, served his country. Did the right thing. Raised young boys, made them into men, made them into leaders. So I'm happy. So I want my kids to look at me the same way.
That's huge right there. Being a role model for me has been something. I put myself out there on Front Street, man. I am a role model. I push myself to, for the young people to have something to look up to, someone to want to be like. You've been in the business a long time, man. You've been in the entertainment business, from a basketball perspective, movies, whatnot, all the way to the top. But we've never seen Shaq in any scandals or anything like that, man. How important has it been for you?
I've been in a few, and I wanted to recreate that word. So I'm more of a real model. Because if you look at role in the dictionary, not you, because I've been on you for a while, you've always been like this, but there's a lot of guys that act, right?
Yeah.
They patrol to the people that they, and then when we find out who they really are, it's a big thing. So I just try to give you who I am. So if I happen to make a mistake, of course we're going to get criticized and do that, but especially the kids, I want you to learn from my mistake, because I'm successful today because of everybody else's mistake. When Lynn Bias died, that was the worst ass whooping I received in my house. My father came in the house with tears in his eye like his son died. And I thought I did some wrong. I'm like, what the? And he just grabbed me. If you ever do drugs, I'll fucking kill you, right? So that's why I don't do drugs, right? So one time, me and my friend was sipping on some beers. If you ever get drunk and drink and drive it. So that's why I don't drink. So, if I happen to make a mistake, I want the kids to be like, you know what? I love Shaq, but I'm not going to do that. Rather than portray myself as, look, I got tattoos. I like rap music. I got wheels. I like bikes. And that's just how I am. I'm never going to portray myself as to be something I'm not. So I would just like to say real model. So, I wish I could say I've never been in any scandals, but, I've been in I've had my share.
Well, nothing, that just was overshadowed.
That's because we knock people out, Booker T. I learned from you, Big
Let
Booker.
them know what time it is.
Yeah. I come in there, dog, my Booker T. What you talking about, dog? I put these hands on them, cuz.
Let them know. What do you say, two-piece side piece fries?
Yeah. Side piece of fries. Yeah. Definitely, Brad, I know you.
Yeah, I got one. I've always wanted to ask you this. You talk about rap music. I love hip-hop. It's my favorite genre of music. Can't Stop the Rain, you and Big. Y'all are in the studio at the same time when that record goes down?
I was there when he did his verse. So
how was it? Now, did you lay your verse down first?
I laid mine. It took me 2 weeks to do mine.
You had to keep rewriting.
Yeah, no, it was the right, but I was like,
was Big?
Yeah, it's like if you're a young comer and you stepping in the ring with him.
Yeah,
you know he's gonna kill you, but you want to be respected, right? So you're gonna train extra hard, learn all you're gonna learn that. So I was like, listen, I'm about to do a track of Big. I know I ain't gonna mess with Big, but I want to be close. You know what I'm saying? So I would go to let my boys hit so I would go back, boom, 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 boom. So then finally he came on a Friday and they left on a Sunday. So I had the studio in my house, nice studio, him, Little C's, and another guy came. And I said, Big, I already laid my verse. Here's a pen and pad. And take it. So he had the pen and the pad, and I played it, the big speakers, and he started it. And like his face was like that. Okay, all right, Big D's, you got that. He's like, I like it. So I was like, whew. Big thing, I'm cool. Big, so it ain't Big Nas and Jigga, but I'm right there. You understand what I'm saying? So he's like, I like it. So he's like, all right, play it. Turn your folks off, play it. Like 2 minutes. And he said, I'm ready. So I was like, oh, you want me to go in the back? He said, no, I'm ready to go. So you're not going to write it down? He started laughing. And he went and laid one that was real vulgar. And it was like, I have it. Like, I'm the only one that got it. I'll never release it. But he killed it. So then I went in and I was like, so I don't like telling people what to do. That's like getting in the ring with him and saying, don't body slam me.
Yeah.
Just
push
a
couple
me.
Kicks.
Yeah, just a couple kicks and push, and you can mush me out the ring. So, but I was like, Big. He said, oh, that's right, Shaq. Kids, my bad. And then he laid that verse. 5 minutes.
Wow.
2 verses in 5 minutes. Like I've never seen. Actually, I have seen it again. Nas did the same thing, and Jigga did the same thing. And you know who else was like that? One take, Peter Guns. My artist, Peter Guns. Yeah, they was all like that.
Or I've always wondered.
Yeah,
so because you knew you weren't going to beat him in the series, but you at least got 3 games.
That's it.
That's all you need.
That's all
Brad
you
is an up and coming rapper.
You know, I've done some stuff.
You heard that dude from Dallas Cowboys, the white kid?
No.
I just heard him today. Yeah,
no,
Cole Beasley. Yeah,
He's pretty good.
I just heard it. So he's I guess he's a wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, and
he's
nice.
Nice.
Yeah, he's all right. Pretty good. White guy. Good looking white guy like
Say
this.
hello to Mr. Slept On. Early mornings I ain't slept long.
Yeah.
Big headed, so I'm headstrong. Had to be just to be headed to where I was going like my.
Yeah, pretty good.
He's got some flow.
No, he got flavor. He got flavor.
Now, Book used to lay down some rhymes too.
I used to way back in the day, man. I was there for a long time. Let's not even talk about it. Hey, man, I know you got to get up out of here, man. I don't want to keep you too long. Let's talk a little bit of basketball. Who's your pick, man, on both?
I don't have a pick. I don't have a dog in the race.
No, come on now. Give me. Give me a prediction.
In your heart of hearts, where do you see it?
I don't have a dog in the race. I, as a fan, would like to see a different finals. So, I mean, as a fan, I just want to see some good basketball. Because I remember growing up watching the Celtics and Lakers, like, damn. Then watching the Pistons and Lakers, like, damn.
Yeah.
And then watching people trying to beat Mike, like, damn. And then, watching people trying to beat me and Kobe, damn. Right? And then, I leave and then Kobe get 2 more, damn. Then I go to Miami and get another one, damn. And then the big, like, it's just, just like a wrestler. You got these guys, you got these new guys. It's just like, as a fan, because I am a fan. So I would love to see Boston make it because they have a great story, especially, they got 2 superstars that go down. Everybody counted them out, even me. It'd be good if they could, beat the King and make it. That'd be good. And then in this one, be good for Houston to do it. I would like to see, this is what I would like to see. Chris Paul's not going to play tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So they go down there. I don't want to say I want them to lose. Let's just say they don't win. It's a Game 7. I want everybody to, Chris Paul's not going to play. He's in the back. He just shoot that thing up.
Yeah.
Right, and come and have a miraculous, like, those are stories that live forever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Days,
those stories like, so, I mean, and for him to have come this far and then go out like that, I ain't going out like that. I'm calling every under the legalities and the rules, of course. I'm calling everybody I know, and I'm shooting that thing. I'm numbing that thing. I'm putting silicone super glue in that thing.
Make an overnight trip to Wakanda, get some vibranium.
Yeah, something. You're not keeping me out. A closeout game against the champs.
Yeah.
Forget that.
Hey, one more before you get out of here. Who would your MVP be of the series?
I don't really understand the criteria of MVP. Ever since Steve Nash beat me out twice, I have no idea. But James Harden probably the favorite so far, and then LeBron's always in that conversation. So whoever wins, congratulations, but I don't really know the commentary.
All right. I can take that. I can live with that. Hey, man, this is Heated Conversation, Sports Radio 610. Hey, I want to thank Shaq
Hulk
for coming.
Hogan called you out right now.
Hey, man.
Talk about everybody in your family. What you going to do? You going to fight that man? You going to stay retired? I want to know right now, Booker.
I'm going to beat that man
Okay,
down.
all right. I'm just checking.
What would you do?
Goldberg calls you out right now. He say Goldberg say he going to come to Houston and smack in the studio. What you going to do? You going to come out of retirement?
I'm going to do him like he's supposed to be done. Right. Make him bow down. Make him pay my son.
Make him say,
Daddy, I don't want nothing.
I had
That's
enough.
right.
Hey, we going to end it on that.
No, we're not going to end it. Old school wrestling. Junkyard Dog. No. Bad Leroy Brown coming here, 70 years old. And he brings in Abdullah the Butcher. What you going to do? You going to be nice or you going to smack him around?
I'm going to be whooping his
ass.
All right.
That's the Booker T I know and love. All right, boy, I love you.
On like neck bones, right?
Stevie Bonadek, right? Shaq,
if Kabuki come in here and spit that green stuff in your face, what you gonna do about it? You remember Kabuki? If Superfly Jimmy Snooker come in here and smack me and rip up all the studio equipment, what you gonna do, Booker T?
What you gonna do?
I ain't gonna do nothing. I'm a lover, not a fighter, man. I ain't gonna do nothing. All right, love you, brother.
Love you too, man. Peace out, man.
All right, guys. Brad Gilmore here from the Hall of Fame, here to keep it 100. Some men walk into a room like regular dudes, but when you've got Blue Chew in your corner, you walk in like it's a main event. I'm talking pyro, lights, smoke machines, a Titantron package, and your theme music blasting. Because Blue Chew just isn't a tablet. It's a cheat code for your crotch. Stronger, harder, longer lasting. Like somebody handed your downstairs a gym membership, a hype man, and a Hall of Fame ring all in one.
And let me tell you something right now, man. This ain't just about sex. This is about legacy. This is about making sure your third legacy gets remembered. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. Shipped straight to your door, man, in a discreet package. You don't need to go to the doctor's office, man. You don't need to stand in line at a pharmacy. Just come ready to go.
Look, last time I tried one of Blue Chew's tablets, my hog got so confident it demanded its own Instagram account. It told me missionary was off-brand and it was only doing extreme positions. I tried Blue Chew and suddenly my hog had a zip code, a driver's license, and voting rights. That's not just performance, that's a lifestyle.
Dog, for me, it felt like my pants were cutting promos on me. Said, we can't hold this man anymore. Somebody call security. It was like my entire lower half turned into a tag team championship, man. And my brother, sometimes it's not even about the action. It's about walking into the room knowing you're holding a steel chair under the table, man, ready to go whenever the bell rings.
Look, this just isn't a supplement. It's an erection resurrection. And the truth is, it's not about what happens in the bedroom. It's about knowing that you're that guy. You want to give her group chat something to talk about? You want to hear your name come up at brunch? Lay it down with Blue Chew's help. And believe me, they'll be talking about how it gets up.
And that's real talk, guys. You only get one career, one championship run, and one chance to etch your name in the history books. Don't leave your legacy to chance. Step into the ring with Blue Chew and become a legend.
And we've got a special deal for our listeners. As always, you get your first month of Blue Chew free. Just use promo code BOOKER at checkout and pay $5 for shipping. That's it. Join Blue Chew's mission to upgrade humanity one thrust at a time. Use promo code BOOKER, BOOKER, and head to BlueChew.com for details and safety information.
Want to thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. Now, can you dig that, sucker? Can you dig it? Houston, get ready to rumble with the Hall of Fame on ESPN Radio.
That's right, Booker. We're bringing the heat Tuesday through Friday right here on the Houston airwaves on 97.5 and 92.5.
We've got the exclusive scoop on wrestling, boxing, and everything in between.
Join us for the smackdown of sports talk and don't miss a moment of the action.
The Hall of Fame. Now, can you dig that, sucker?
Hey guys, it's Brad Gilmore from the Hall of Fame with Booker T, and we talk a lot about trust on this show. Trust in your team, trust in the process, trust in your opponent, and you got to talk about trust in your money, and that's why I use Cash App. I do. I use Cash App. This is true. I use it every single day. It's where I have a card with. It's where I exchange currency with, whether I'm getting a haircut, whether I'm getting, some lawn services, whatever the case might be. I use Cash App because it's fast, it's secure, and it makes handling my money so simple. So whether I'm splitting a dinner bill, splitting money with a friend, checking my balance before a big weekend, it's all right there in the app. So if you download Cash App today and use our referral code, which is SECURE10, for $10 when you sign up. That's SECURE, SECURE, the number 10. Do that. Use that code because Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services are provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards are issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. You visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures. So go ahead, hit that download button. Use my code SECURE10 and join the millions of people already using Cash App to make life easier. Trust me, you'll be glad that you did it, okay? SECURE10, SECURE10, SECURE10. And remember, Cash App is a financial services platform. It is not a bank. Banking services are provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards are issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures and use Cash App today. Booker and I use it. You should use it too. Cash App, Cash App, Cash App.
Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Is that how you describe yourself? Brutally handsome?
Brutally handsome. He's ugly, but he looks good. You know? That's what it's about, man. It's the conversation, man. Hey, man, we having an awesome show today. Mickey Gall, Michael Jackson. And what we call that
the Thriller in Nevada.
No, we call that the prelim.
Oh yeah,
the co-main, and now it's time for the main event.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we talked about it. We said we was going to have her here, former NXT Women's Champion, now WWE Diva. And me personally, I don't know which one is best. She's going to have to explain that to me. But right now we have on the line the boss.
The boss.
Sasha.
That's right.
Sasha Banks. What's going on, Sasha?
Yeah, nothing much. Just, living life.
You funning in the sun, Miami? What? Where you at right now?
I'm in Orlando, and it's actually quite chilly.
Oh, yeah. Orlando, that's where the Rumble is going to be, right?
Oh, yeah, we're getting ready for the Royal Rumble tomorrow. Can't wait.
Are you ready for it?
I am so ready for it. It's like one of my favorite WWE events, so I look forward to it.
It is one of my favorite WWE events. The Rumble. I remember 2011 it was. I made my return to the WWE, and it was like a Road Warrior pop 1986. Can you feel me? I'm talking about the roof. I mean, the roof felt like it was about to blow off. You know what I mean? I couldn't believe it. The love that I got from the WWE universe after being away for like 4 years. It was awesome. Perhaps my most awesome night in the WWE.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, the people been, the line's been blowing up here. Twitter, people have been wondering, last seen December 28th, Sasha Banks took a hiatus. I mean, I don't know. Are you on vacation? Some of the questions, is Sasha Banks, one of the questions, is Sasha Banks pregnant?
Oh, my
Our fans are pretty.
Is Sasha Banks working?
They want to know
on her acting career.
God.
Well, so
what's going?
Are you? Are you with?
R&R.
Are you with child?
Are you with child?
Are you with a child? Let's just say it that way. I mean, that's the most correct way to say it, isn't it? Sasha,
oh my God. Well,
I think you've embarrassed her.
I'm definitely not with child yet. I don't plan on being in motherhood until maybe I'm in my late 30s. I'm only 23, about to turn 24 on Tuesday, and I'm just right now I'm just doing me, taking care of me, and I'll be back very soon.
Yeah, happy early.
I'll be back really soon.
Happy early birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Thank you. I feel so old. It's crazy.
How old are you going to be now?
I'm going to be 24.
Oh man, I mean, you're still a kid, but as you get older, you're going to get wiser. And right now, even in in the infancy stages of your career, you seem like a veteran. The way you go out there and work, is this something that you always want to do as a kid?
Oh my God, yes. Since I was 10 years old, I knew that I wanted to be in the WWE. So that has been my only dream since then, and I've always chased for it. And actually, Booker, I have a funny story. When I was 17, my mom was on interviews to find a job, and she went to Houston, New York, and Boston. And when she was at the Houston airport, she ran into Sharmell. Oh. And she told Sharmell that her daughter wanted to be a wrestler. And Sharmell told her, yeah, send your daughter to our school. We'll take care of her. Unfortunately, she didn't get the job in Houston. She got in Boston, but if we would have went to Houston, I would have been joining your pro wrestling school.
Hey,
so I thought that was pretty cool.
Hey, you got close to it. I mean, but you turned out all right anyway. You must be a natural at this, because some things you just can't learn. You just have to know it. It has to be second nature. I always tell everybody, the business don't find the wrestler find the business, and you definitely found this business. But do you got any other outside interests other than this, maybe like acting or anything like that?
You know what? Not really. I mean, I enjoy. I wouldn't mind doing it on the side, but man, I'm telling you, since I was 10, I wanted to be a wrestler, and after I'm done with wrestling, I still want to be involved in wrestling. I would love to be an agent. I would love to be a trainer. And, that's just what I see for my life in the future. I know that's so crazy just to be in this industry is already hard enough. Yeah. And, now that I see how agents do it backstage, I don't know how they do it. But, that's my long-term goal. So it's always to be in the WWE, and it's always to be involved in wrestling. That's all I see for myself.
Hey, man, I know exactly how you feel in that right there. Look at me. I'm a lifer. 26 years in this business. Who'd have thunk it? You know what I mean? 26 years I've been riding, man, having fun, going out there and creating more than anything. I was just talking to Chris Jericho just last week. This thing for me has always been Leonardo DiCaprio, Romeo and Juliet. Phantom of the Opera, going out there and creating magic. And for a minute, you was creating a whole lot of magic, and right now, seemed like Becky Lynch has stepped into that spot that you were in, and right now she's getting all of that, feel good moments right now. Actually, she's in the big matches right now with Charlotte. How do you feel not being in that picture right now?
Well, she's only in that spot because I'm not there. So
that's now, right. Talk that talk.
Right.
Let them know.
Now she's going to be in that spot. But just you wait. When I come back. And trust me, I am going to come back bigger and better and even more of a star, because you know what? Nobody steals my spotlight. And I am ready for that spotlight. Everything I did in NXT happened for a reason, because I was given an opportunity. And I took that opportunity and I ran with it. And I made it 10 times bigger than anybody could ever even think of. So once I get that opportunity on Raw and on SmackDown, trust me, you haven't heard the name Sasha Banks yet.
Oh, yeah, baby. This is Heated Conversation, Sports Radio 16. And if you haven't heard, this is Sasha Banks, the boss, and right now it's getting hot. It's getting heated. Back in the day, when I used to be in the locker room with them suckers, and, I would go out and have a match. And then I would come back in the locker room, and I'd say, go out there and follow that. Go out there and follow that. Look here, I know I'm top 3 in the business, you know what I mean? Top 3, maybe top 5 in the world. And they would ask, what number are you? And I would say, it don't matter. That's not, it really don't matter. I'm hovering. I'm somewhere in the top 5. What do you rank yourself among all the divas?
Okay.
Of all time.
Well, of all time.
Because I know I was better than all them suckers. I'm just saying.
I know where I want to be, and I know in my heart I am number 1, but not until I have that Divas title around my waist, I can't say I'm number 1 yet. And I'm not even going to say I'm number 2. I just need that opportunity. And I know a lot of fans know that I am good. And I just don't think the WWE Universe has seen that yet from Sasha Banks. You know, the NXT Universe got to see it, but the WWE Universe has not seen what Sasha Banks is capable of. So I just see that opportunity, and I will take that Divas title, and I will be number one for a very, very long time.
I'll give you that right there. You don't, you ain't stepping on no toes, and you ain't being braggadocious or anything like that. You're saying you're going to let your performance go out there and dictate and prove how good Sasha Banks, the boss, really is, and I like that. My man Brad Gilmore over here, he's my Batman and my Robin.
No, I'm Batman. You got it right.
My Robin and my Batman. He's over here like twiddling his thumbs and everything.
Well, I want to talk because you talk about top five. You talk about top five of all time. You all top 5 time, right? You talk about top 5 though. In my top 5 though, when we talk about hip hop, we talk about my top 5. Snoop Dogg is in my top 5.
Of course he is.
Pac's in my Big.
Yeah.
Andre 3000.
Yeah.
Pimp C. Those are my top 5. Right?
This is a white guy. He's 23 years old. Go ahead.
It's all right. Hey, race has nothing to do with it, Book. It doesn't matter. Tell him, Sasha. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but go ahead. What's your question?
You always point out that I'm a white guy.
Like
they can't tell by the name Brad Gilmore that I'm a white guy. Or my voice, Brad.
What's your
Anyway,
question?
my question is, I know Snoop Dogg is actually your cousin, and I just think that's one of the coolest things when you read about Sasha Banks, that you're actually related to Snoop Dogg. How was it? Because I know Snoop's always been a big WWE fan. How was it growing up with Snoop Dogg? Did he get you into shows? Did you abuse the fact that Snoop was your cousin a lot in school? Because I know I would have.
Well, growing up, kids did not believe me that he was my cousin. They were just like, yeah, right. So whenever he would come around, like, for concerts, I would take hundreds of pictures. I would grab every, T-shirt that they had, and I would bring it to school, and I'd be like, yeah, I told you so. But when it came to WWE events, oh, my God, anytime I knew they were in my area, I called him up, and I was like, please take me with you, please. I went to 3 WrestleManias with him. I went to a Raw with him, and, that's how I abused my power in that way. But obviously, I made a name for myself because that's like a fact that, some people know about me and some people don't, I ain't going out there every week going for shizzle like some people wooing around, but, I just do what I do.
Uh-oh, shots.
Heated conversation.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about right there.
It's getting heated.
Hey, it is. Hey, what's your Twitter handle and all that stuff right there, Sasha? Everybody in the world know it, but I got a couple of fans who might not know it.
It's Sasha Banks, WWE, and don't you forget about it.
Oh yeah, baby. Hey, Sasha, when's your, what's your time frame on when we're going to see some more Sasha Banks in the ring? Everybody's, anticipating, your comeback. When we gonna see?
I am not giving them no time. They gotta wait, man. I am the boss. They wait for me. I ain't gonna tell them nothing. But just be watching every week because I'm making a comeback. Oh, yes,
That's gonna be a scoop right there. I was just,
He's trying to get the
I'm always trying to get a scoop on the show. No, but I know you're busy. I know you're down there in Orlando. I know people want your autograph and everything. So I know you. I'm gonna let you get out of here. But I want to thank you for coming on Heated Conversation, Sports Radio 610 with your man Booker T.
Thank you, Booker. I appreciate it.
I'll holler at you. I'll see you tomorrow, girl.
All right, I'll see ya.
Take care. There you go, Sasha. That was the boss, Booker. The
Oh,
boss.
That's the boss right there, Sasha Banks, man.
The boss.
She wouldn't give us no scoop, though. You know what I mean?
Well, it's
I wanted to
okay,
know when
though.
she was going to be coming back because Sasha is literally perhaps the hottest and fastest rising female in the WWE since perhaps Trish Stratus or something.
Yeah, I
like
agree.
that.
She's one of my favorite, not even female. She's one of my favorite wrestlers right now. I mean, the girl, she's.
No, that's what I'm talking about. No,
she's good.
No, I mean, of course she looks good, but I'm talking about her in-ring performance. She goes out and she performs at a very high level, and that's why I say some of that stuff, it can't be taught. She said she'd been watching it and wanting to be there since she was a little girl, such as myself, Houston Wrestling, Paul Bosch, being on the fishing dock, in the black and white in the truck, and I go make sure at 10 o'clock I'm watching some wrestling. I actually loved watching professional wrestling, not ever thinking in a million years like Sasha that I would ever be one of those guys in the ring, but it happened for me, man. And I'm gonna tell you, it can happen for you too, guys. If you ever think about, if you're interested in, joining a wrestling school, come check me out.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
Marcus, what happened?
I was changing my oil and I spilled some on the floor.
Oh, well, use these $50 bills to wipe it up.
Perfect. Got any more?
Yeah, take a couple hundred.
Stop. Instead of using money, use an old rag. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
And I told you guys I had a very, very special guest here on the show with me today, and she's here, 7-time Divas champion, tough enough trainer with me. We have a whole lot of history together. 2013 Hall of Fame member. Some say the greatest class of all time. That's what they say.
I would tend to agree with that.
I mean, okay, I agree. So let's get her on the line right now. She is the lovely Trish Stratus. What's up, Trish?
Well, I have to first off say I concur. It was the best and will be always the best class. And I have to tell you something. I have to give you a little correction. I'm a 7-time women's champion.
Well, I mean, I know it. I know it's a difference now, but they make us say that.
Oh, did they? I wasn't aware of this. I didn't know we were still on the okay.
I'm just playing.
Well, wait, Brad Gilmore here. I want to ask you a question. What's the difference, in your opinion, between the Women's Championship and the Divas Championship?
Okay, well, first of all, the hardware is very different, right?
Yes.
The hardware is different for sure. I think it's interesting when they put away the women's title to sleep and then they kind of focused on the Divas title. It was sort of like I got all these interviews kind of asking me like, it's a really sad time and how do you feel about this and it's the ending of a legacy. And I thought it was apropos. I thought at the time the Divas, what they were doing was kind of just different than. And I'm sure we can expand on certainly in this interview, but it was different than what we were doing when we were competing for the women's championship at that time. And so I felt like it symbolized, a new dawning of an era. And I thought it was kind of apropos at the time. It worked for me. And so, and it's funny because I've always I don't agree with the term diva. I don't call myself a diva. I tend to say, I stick with the old school, we used to all be known as superstars. Now just the guys are. So maybe I just like being part of the guys. I'm not sure. But I just think it's kind of it has a different connotation, I guess.
Hey, I respect that. That's all I can say about that. I respect that. I mean, and, I tell you, it was a big, big difference between the Divas and the women that came along back then because I remember Lita, Stacy Keibler, Tori Wilson. Those were all Sable. Those were all women. You know what I mean? Yeah. You guys definitely wore that moniker very, very well. And I don't think it's a whole lot of women in the game. So, it's like that on the guy's side, too. Back in the day, every guy that came out of that locker room, you thought he was a grizzled veteran. You looked at him like he was a man. You know what I mean? So it is a big, big difference between now and then. But you know what that's called? Evolution. That's just what that is. It happens. And I always say, we don't wear bell-bottom jeans anymore. At least guys don't.
I've seen a couple of fashion shows, and I think they may be making a comeback.
Oh, my God. You got to be kidding me. Okay.
Can I just say, speaking of the evolution, when I originally changed the name of the title, it did evolve. And so I think at the time the women weren't really representing the way we represent it, and just in a different way. But I do say, now it's interesting because, the girls are really rocking it right now. Like, they really, to me, these are women wrestlers. So it feels like, I don't know, maybe they got to bring back that title because I feel like that title just has
come on, you can pat yourself on the back. Go ahead and pat. Give yourself a little bit of credit. I ain't gonna let you slip out the back door like that. Hey, but at the Hall of Fame 2013, you said you was with a child. That was 2 years ago. What is it like, chasing the little one around now?
Well, oh my God, it is amazing. And I remember when you and I, we started doing Tough Enough, you had the two little ones, brand new babies on your hands, right? And I couldn't even fathom what it would be like. And oh my gosh, it is amazing. He's 19 months now, and Max is like, I say he's like a fully functioning human being now. Like, he knows how to do things like throw my trash out, stuff like that. But it's awesome. Every day is a new day. It still shocks me. I'm like, how do you know these things? I don't understand how you know this. And it's amazing. I'm loving it. I love just, watching him develop. And he's like my Amy's my bestie, but this guy is pretty up there in my book.
I got twins too, like you say, Kendrick, Kennedy Rose. Big shout out, y'all. If y'all listening to the show. They're 4 years old. And they give me so much energy to want to just keep on doing so much more. I thought perhaps it would slow me down, but actually I have picked up more steam like never before. What's the transition for you been like?
Same thing. I actually thought, I'm notoriously known as a workaholic. Obviously, since I've left wrestling, I have a business now. I have a brand, a company, I have a product line. So, doing that, I was known as a workaholic because I was building the brand, and that's what I was doing. I love what I do. I was passionate about it, and I put in the hours, and I love to work late nights. This is that's my thing. And it kind of was like when I was pregnant, it was like, well, this is going to have to change. I mean, I'm going to have to, get up early with the baby, and I'm going to have to, there'll be nights and stuff like that. And I can say, between the wrestling training of, keeping a crazy, hectic pace and learning how to multitask, it's certainly a skill that I've learned to do now as a parent. I still keep the hours like teeth. Sometimes I put them to bed, and then I go to work. I sit in my office, and I work for a few hours into the wee morning, wee hours of the night, and it works just fine. And it's right, you're right. You're driven to be your very, very best. And I know when I put my everything into my business, or I'm creating or something like that, that's what inspires me. I know I'm at my best as a person, and so I know that makes me being my best as a person makes me the best mother. So it works out, and I can tell you, I think around maybe the 4-month mark is when I found my balance. I mean, at the beginning it was I was all mommy, I was a hermit, I was in this bubble, and then I kind of stepped out and was like, okay, I'm ready to find this balance. And I thought it'd be difficult, and it does take time, and it takes some juggling, and it takes the support certainly of my mother-in-law and my mom and everyone, and of course my husband. But I found it, found the groove, and I'm loving it, and I'm ready to juggle another one. That's what I'm gonna say.
Hey, hold on now. Wait a minute. This is the Heated Conversation right here on Sports Radio 16. Got Trish Stratus on tonight. 7-time woman's champion. I gotta get it right. Did I get it right that time? No, I was totally right?
You got it.
A lot of times, the people that listen to the show, they don't know where we came from. Tell me, what was a young Trish Stratus like? I mean, just like if they would just say, Trish, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Well, Trish, I wanted to be a doctor. I thought, I wanted to. I was that kind of nerdy kid. I asked for the microscope set for Christmas because I like to take bugs and look at them inside, and I was just kind of nerdy like that. I loved discovering, and that was my thing. And I was kind of so between that and being a tomboy, that's kind of your snapshot of me as a kid. I was kind of like the son my dad never had, I had cousins. We're a big Greek family, and we all hung out. We're all the same age roughly, and I was part of the boys. I played sports with them. I played as rough as them, and wrestling was a huge part of what I was. But I never thought of that as a job option. I thought there's no girls doing it really. And of course when I saw Wendy Rector and Cyndi Lauper doing their thing, I was like, oh, okay, this is cool, and I had the sweatshirt and everything, and that was my, I could wear the gear, and that was something I could relate to, but it certainly never was a thought of a job category, whereas now you get girls going, you do a signing, and the dad's a huge fan, he goes, and this is my daughter, she wants to be a diva when she grows up, and I'm like, okay, well, bring her back in a couple of years, we'll talk. But anyway, that was me. I wanted to be a doctor, and I did everything in my time. I mean, I volunteered at the hospital when I was growing up. I was a candy striper, as they called it. I attended the labs. Everything I did was gearing towards that. And then there was a strike at my university in 2007. And then everything got put on hold, and it's so funny because it's the universe just kind of spins you in certain ways, and you have to be I always say, be aware of those opportunities because you never know where they'll lead you. And I just, I ended up taking a job at a gym basically to work the front desk so I could train for free basically. And that led to my fitness modeling, which led to my wrestling, which led to me being in the class with you in 2013.
Yeah, that pretty much leads me to my next question. I see you played soccer, field hockey, so you was an athlete. And I say athlete because I was corrected on Twitter last week about saying athlete. So
I was actually about to go there, but okay, I'm glad
so I had to make sure I said that properly. But what was your route to the WWE?
Well, it was like you said. My background was, and I think having an athletic background is obviously it's like almost a prerequisite for. I mean, especially for the women. For guys, most guys are sort of naturally athletic, I guess. But for the women, it's certainly important. I know for me, playing soccer until I was 21 years old, and competitive, and playing field hockey for my university, that helps me be, body aware and just be adept, as an athlete, and get in the ring and athlete. Sorry, athlete.
Yeah, athlete. Yeah, I was like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be. I'm like, that's what you're gonna make me about. You kidding me, right? But go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're like, that's your tweet. That's your tweet. And you know what? You probably replied to it, and it got a minute.
No, I did not. No, I did not. I never replied.
You just put it over on the radio show.
I had to. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm thinking.
He's tweeting right now.
I got him.
Oh my God. So my road basically, like I kind of ended off on the school went on strike. I did fitness modeling for about 2 years, and career went really well. It just was a brand new industry, so it was kind of like, they were looking for women who were not male looking, it was kind of women bodybuilders, it was kind of the female side of that business. And so at this point, they were sort of finding this new niche, this new fitness modeling slot for women who are just fitness oriented and nice, attainable bodies. And it was, healthy bodies, a good lifestyle. So I kind of had a really lucky that I came in at a time where it was taking off, and there was like a handful of us doing, the thing. And I know, Book, the name from the fitness industry, the Amy Fadleys and the Monica Brands.
Yeah.
So that, I was lucky to be around those girls, and really we had a really good time at that, during that time. And then I was on, it was just a series of events. I was on the cover of Muscle Mag. I was on a show called Off the Record that was, they were a very wrestling friendly show. You might have even been on it. He's interviewed tons of wrestlers, but and I was on this show, and we were, in Canada, you have to catch wrestling at 2 a.m. So it was a big deal in Canada that we were going to have it prime time. So they did a big press conference in front of the Sky Dome, and that night was the house show. And so, which is, a live event, as you know. So I attended this event because they asked me to be part of a panel to discuss wrestling and to be part of this live show, part of this big crowd when they made the press announcement. And they knew I was, a female fan who liked wrestling, which was unusual at the time. And, and so I was on that show. And then that night I attended the show as a fan. I was just giddy with, I met Mick Foley for this first time. I met Undertaker. Owen Hart I met. It was a crazy time for me. And while I was there, these fans were coming up to me and going hey, when are you starting in wrestling? And I was like, oh, no, I'm not, but then this internet rumor started, and it was just it got out of control. There was Trish will be making her debut soon. She's been spotted by Vince McMahon. She's a fitness model, and it was not even true. But at the same time, I was kind of
hey,
okay,
make it true though, yeah.
But I truly believe you can manifest things to happen.
Yes.
You talk to the universe, and honestly, you put it out there. So what did I do? I said, well, listen, if this opportunity comes, I want to be prepared. So I went and I actually found the place where, Edge trained out of in Toronto, and I knocked on the door, and I met Ron Hutchinson, he's my trainer, and I said, hey, I want to train. And he's like, okay, well, there's only males here. And I said, perfect. So he threw me in there. He treated me like a guy. I trained like a guy. I trained with guys. And that was I just thought, if they call, hey, I'll have this background, right? So I had trained for a few months, and finally they ended up calling, asking for my press kit. I sent them my press kit. I had a couple covers, that I had done in the fitness world at that point. So they were kind of I had a little bit of, little notoriety I could bring with me. And I finally, Jim Ross flew me to Connecticut. I met with him, and we had our first meeting, and the rest is history.
Boom.
We just boom. And I mean, totally not traditional, right? I didn't do, the indie scene. I didn't do the
you know what? This is
all.
professional wrestling. There is no traditional ways. I think, I think you find your way through that door, and you put your foot in there, and you never look back. Hey, what's your Twitter handle and all that stuff, Trish?
My Twitter handle is Trish Stratus com at the end. And that is my Twitter, my Facebook, and my Instagram, and my website is trishstratus.com.
Yeah, this is Trish Stratus on the line. Heated Conversation, Sports Radio 610. And we got a heated conversation going on right now. We partners. Like I say, we're made. I'm a made man. You're a made woman. We're both Hall of Famers. We're going to be talking to Trish Stratus on the other side about, I think what made her so much different than the other divas. But the whole time, I really never knew what made me so much different than the other guy. It's a very, very thin line from, the guy that make it and the guy that don't. I know I worked really, really hard. I know I was very theatrical, and I know I was willing to put myself out there in any situation and try to make that situation work. What made you so much different than all the other divas that, I touted you the greatest diva of all time?
I've heard you say that before, and I know it's just because we're pals, but that's cool.
No, that's not true.
You said it last week on the show.
I said it last week on the show. I told her,
because I'm an upcoming guest.
No, I'm serious. I've always said that. I've always said that you have been the type that not just, you wasn't just pretty. You wasn't just a beautiful girl. You wasn't just sexy or anything like that. You was the one that could go out there and get rough in a fight. You could get a black eye and still look good. You was always about the performance more than anything, and making that performance bigger than anything it possibly could be. From every perspective, on a losing perspective as well as a winning perspective, out of the ring, as well as behind the stage. That's what I've always admired about Trish Stratus.
Well, you see how I just spun that, so I got you to answer that question?
She might need a radio show, Book.
I'll just say thank you for that, Book. No, I mean, you nailed it, but I mean, not that I don't mean you nailed me, but I mean, what you said originally is like, it's hard for you to think of like, why am I different? Why do I, get called that sometimes? And how did I get inducted? I mean, when I got the call for the induction, I thought, what? Like, I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was like, you're kidding me. Like, certainly there's got to be a whole lineup before me. Like, you never think of yourself like that. And so, to be honest, I don't know. I do know, like you said, that what I set out to do was I knew that I was given, I don't care if it was 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I'm going to make it the best damn 20 minutes that I've ever, could possibly give to the fans, the crowd, and to myself and to my coworkers. So, I mean, and that's all I can say. I know that I was constantly, I strive on challenge. So for me, like, that's why I feel like my career itself as a whole has been so, diverse and it's just been so dynamic because I love a challenge and I want to just continue to keep moving forward and try new things. And I was like that. I treated my wrestling career like that. I mean, I didn't want to just be like the ballet. I knew that I was athletically capable of showing that I could do more, and I wanted that chance. And I knew that, like, I really like touching onto something that's not been done before. Like just like with the fitness modeling industry, it was exciting to me because there really wasn't women being showcased like this with attainable physiques and something that women could look to as role models and be like embodiment of health and fitness rather than just like drugs and weights. So to me, it was exciting to like go out there and prove myself and prove this genre of women. And so with the wrestling opportunity, I got the same chance to do that sort of thing. I got out there to represent a strong, powerful woman, a woman making it in a male-dominated world, and I just loved it. And I thought, I knew I could do more every time I went out there, and I was just lucky that I had that platform that I was able to grow. Like I said, I didn't have the minor leagues to grow, but I certainly had an amazing platform that I was able to go and learn. I was, my TNA days, I got to be ringside and watch Tess and Albert and watch their opponents and see this movement got that reaction. Wow, this little tiny, mannerism. So I had like a front row for like learning. I mean, I got to learn right in front of me. And then of course all the people and all the mentors I had, like Fit Finley and The Rock and Bubba, all these people that really just gave me that extra bit of advice. So I just knew that I honestly started to get to the point where I wanted to go out there and I wanted to go make Fit proud, for example, when I left that, when I went behind the curtain and I walked out that curtain, I wanted to make Fit proud that night. And then I wanted to make my opponents, happy that they want to work with me again next week. So, and then of course leave the fans stratified.
Yeah, most definitely.
So that they'd want to see more of me, And so that's what drove me. And I guess, hey, it worked. So I guess, at the end of the day, it's about drive and having passion. And of course, coming into the business about something that I grew up on watching. Ron, who's my husband now, I mean, we got married just after I retired in 2006, but we've been together for 23 years. So, we were teenagers. We were, teens watching wrestling together. And in fact, he actually grew up with my cousins, so I, was that tomboy with my cousins watching wrestling with Ron when I was like 8 or 9 years old, you know what I mean, having wrestling matches. So, I'll never forget, like, when I signed that contract, and Ron and I just looked at each other like, this is nuts. I'm actually, what? So yeah, I mean, that's, and, even in my business today, the yoga and health and fitness business, because I'm passionate about it, it's what I live and what I breathe, that's why I feel like there's success there. So, that's, I don't even know if I answered your question.
No, you know what, you did. No, you did. And you actually led me to my next question. I know we got a lot of email questions. We call them the Gmail.
Well,
yeah, exactly. we call them the Gmailers, but we segue very well. The thing was, I was just thinking about this. 2002 to 2006. Before you got in this game, did you have a plan? Because I know me, at 30 years old, I was planning my escape, what I was going to do next. And it seemed like yourself, and we're going to talk about that as soon as you answer this question right here. What are you doing right now? But did you have a plan when you first got in it?
The only plan I had was basically to be the best I could be.
Yeah.
You know, of course. But I do know, like, exit strategy-wise, that I thought to myself, I think 30 feels about good to me. It feels like, you know, it feels like about right for this business. Like, I just thought, you know, because you're going to put your life on hold. And I thought, well, this is, you know, this is part of my life, but it's not my life. So I want to make sure that I can maximize, get everything I can out of these opportunities and take it as far as I can. And that's why I feel like when I retired, I was so, like, everyone's like, do you miss it? Did you retire too early? You were on a good roll. And I was like, I was so fulfilled, I guess. And I felt like I had such a robust career that I felt, no, I'm good because I did what I needed to do and I feel great, you know. So I guess, there you go.
You know, I got Brad Gilmore in here. He's pretty young. He's like half my age, but he's a big fan. He's like itching to ask you like a question. So I'm like, so Brad, what's the big question?
Well, I wanted to ask you, Trish. Hi, how you doing? First of all.
Hi. We've barely spoken.
And he's a white guy.
Okay, good.
So pretty much the opposite of Booker. I wanted to ask you though.
White guy, got it.
I wanted to ask you about, you know, Booker talked about, you know, having a plan outside the ring, and I saw something on your website that you were cast as the female lead in a new action movie called Gridlock. Can you tell us a little bit about the film and how you became a part of it?
Sure. Well, this you know, it's so funny. You know, everyone always asks, well, are you going to pursue acting? And I actually did a movie. My first movie was in 2010. It's called Bounty Hunters. And it was neat. It was like the script was written, like he was a wrestling fan, and he knew of me, and he wrote the script with me in mind. So when it landed on my desk and I read it, I was like, oh my God, this is perfect, you know. And then the fight scenes were like, the personality was me. The fight scenes were things I could totally pull off, and he wanted me to do my own scenes. So that's.
And was that on Showtime?
Actually, yeah, it is on. No, not Showtime. I don't know.
I think I saw that one night, and I woke up and I saw Trish Stratus kicking some A ... And
yes.
It was good.
Thank you. Yeah, the movie itself.
Just you.
Good,
Your part.
But that part was great. Yeah, those were some good scenes. And for me, I was just so that was my first sort of like foray into the acting world, you know, whereas everyone thinks that's like a natural transition for a lot of wrestlers. Obviously, The Rock mastered that. You know, and I thought, yeah, and I always said, like, I like it. I'm not actively pursuing acting. Like, I knew that was something I enjoyed doing. But don't get me wrong. I mean, that role was like, it wasn't like I was stepping outside my box. I was being, you know, Trish Stratus basically, but on the big screen, you know. And so this role came up, and it was funny because, you know, I've had a couple opportunities here and there. I've done a few TV shows, and you know, yes, acting interests me. And you know, I was actually hanging out with it was on my baby moon in Halifax, of all places.
Yeah.
And Adam Copeland, Edge, was filming his show Heyman out there. So he caught me on Twitter that I was there in Halifax. And he's like, "Oh my God, you're here. We got to hook up." So you know, Ron and I went down to where he was staying, and we went and had, you know, hung out for the day and had some lunch. And he was telling me about an agent, and he goes, "Yeah, you should just talk to him," you know. And he really like told me, you know, kind of like, you know, let me into that world a little bit and said how great it was, and, you know, how, you know, essentially this is why I like doing TV shows too. When I was a wrestler, what did I do? We produced moments, right? You're in charge of this amount of time, and you get to produce a moment, right, and evoke emotion. And so, you know, to me, acting and movie making is the same thing. So I thought, yeah, you know, he kind of opened up my eyes. And I thought, yeah, you know what, why don't we just put that out there in the universe? I'm telling you, I met this agent, and it's like this role was made for me. Like, literally, I met this agent. We barely had signed the contract when he gets the call, and he goes, okay, we just got this thing. It's like, you know, because I had kind of said, he goes, you know, I need to know, like, what are your expectations? Will you move to LA and, you know, do acting like what are you thinking? And I said, oh, no. I said, like, I got my business here. I got my brand building. I got the baby building. I said, you know, but I said, I'll be interested in some opportunities, right? So, you know, he goes, okay, I've got this thing. They're asking for an athletic action, you know, star, a woman to do this role, and it's filming here in Toronto. It's like big budget. There's Danny Glover in it, and Dominic Purcell from Prison Break, and, you know, Vinnie Mac, the notorious heel in like every movie you've seen. And I was like, oh my God. And so it was like meant for me, like the universe. I'm telling you, man, you tell the universe, it listens. It'll manifest. And so, you know, don't doubt that, I tell you. And so that role came about, and I ended up meeting with the producers and the director, and they have, it was great because I sat down, I was nervous, I was like, I don't even know how do you meet with the director? Oh my God, right? I sat down, and I have no acting experience.
You never know what you can do until you try, though. If you think you can, you can do it,
Well, I'll tell you what also helped is they're like, so tell us more about wrestling.
That's always a good one right there, yeah.
How many times does it get you in the door, right?
Yeah, every time.
Still, for me, look, you're still active on the roster. I mean, I'm so removed from it. Sometimes I forget I was a wrestler myself, and I'm like, when people forget, I'm like, oh, seriously, even today you're doing that? That's awesome. So, yeah, that was kind of how I got introduced to the role, and it was an awesome experience. Dominic Purcell was an amazingly giving actor. He really, kind of took me under his wing. Just like I say, I've had mentors in wrestling. I've had mentors in fitness. You've got to have those people in your life that can lead and really, take you under their wing. And if you're open, you learn. Like, it's amazing how much that'll affect you and how much you can grow. So I was very lucky that he helped me that way. And, and it just, the movie should be coming out spring, I guess they say summer, fall, kind of just roughly. And then it will, of course, I'll probably come back on to promote it. Why not?
Hey, most definitely. You keep your ears open. You never really stop learning. I'm a true believer in that. Hey, we got a couple of minutes left. Heated Conversation, Sports Radio 610 with Trish Stratus. Wow, how's the yoga going? How's the yoga studio going?
Everything's going well. We've actually just shut down the studio. We decided, we were getting all these bookings that were kind of coming from, like we had retreats we were booking, we had corporate things that we were booking, and all this stuff was like people were wanting this off-site stuff. And so we kind of thought, we changed the business model a little bit. I have my roster of instructors still, and we send out people to corporates. We run retreats, and we're just actually getting ready to take my Stardust for Yoga DVD, which is like my style, which is a hybrid between strength training and yoga poses. And we're going to do a teacher's training course that'll be out there and kind of take it on the road. So it's kind of neat how it's evolved, and I love it. And it's, it's spun off to my product line, and then, we've got DVD number 4 in production now, and it's been going good. It's yoga. I stumbled onto it through having that injury. I had a herniated disc in my back during wrestling, and at the moment you feel like it's the worst thing that could ever happen to me, in my career at this very moment when things are on a roll. But honestly, everything happens for a reason, and that happened so that I could find my path to yoga, and now it's sort of, it's my lifestyle and everything. So yeah, it's been going great.
It's Trish Stratus right there. Heated Conversation, Sports Radio 16. Hey, I'm going to just throw it out there before I let you go. And I want a piece of the action if you actually happen to do it. But I say Stratosphere versus DDP Yoga grudge match. Put it on pay-per-view and just sell it, man. I think it'll sell out. But God, just Trish Stratus online with me. Heated Conversation. Trish, I want to thank you for coming on and, giving the people a little taste of what it's like to have a little Stratusfaction.
Ooh, I like that. I like what you did there. Well, thanks, Book. That was awesome. And I, as a black athlete who's old, and then, of course, you, Brad, who is a young white man who I don't know if is an athlete or not, I really enjoyed the conversation. I thought the three of us, segued quite nicely.
Ooh, yeah. We're going to do it again. Let me know when the movie's coming out. We'll get you back on. Trish Stratus, guys.
Man, I got to tell you, BT, I never thought I'd care this much about a wallet, but Ridge Wallet has completely changed the game for me. Before this, I was carrying around that old school leather wallet. It was falling apart. It was bulky and jammed from receipts from like 1996, even though I was only 4 years old. It looked like I had a cheeseburger in my back pocket, but with Ridge, it's sleek, it's strong. It holds up to 12 cards plus cash, and it's made from premium materials. I'm talking aluminum, or as my folks across the pond say, aluminium, carbon fiber, titanium. This thing is like the superhero of wallets. And y'all know I love my gear. I gotta be sharp, I gotta be clean. Ain't nobody dope as me. I'm just so fresh. So yeah, I'm so fresh and so clean, and I also need to be functional. So this is what is huge for me. This wallet has RFID blocking tech, so nobody's stealing your info while you're walking down the street. That's peace of mind. And check this out. Mine is made of carbon fiber, but they have 50 colors and styles to choose from. It's the last wallet you'll ever need. And with Ridge's lifetime warranty, it's not just hype.
is real.
Right now, Ridge is running their huge Memorial Day sale. You can get up to 40% off at ridge.com/Booker. That's ridge.com/Booker. Don't miss their biggest sale of the year. And when they ask how you heard about them, make sure you tell them you heard them right here on the Hall of Fame podcast with Brad Gilmore and Booker T. Hey, and don't forget, support the show and level up, baby.
You know, life always doesn't wait for a payday. There's been times where I needed some gas money, groceries, or even grab some last-minute tickets for a big night out, and payday, it was still days away. That's why I love talking about the game-changing app like Earn In. Earn In is the app that lets you access your pay your way as you earn it, and up to $150 a day with a maximum of $750 between checks. There's no interest, there's no credit checks, there's no mandatory fees. It's not a loan. This is your money. Just download the Earn In app, add in your work info, and you can start accessing your pay right away. You can even leave an optional tip to help support the app for everybody. Then, any money you access plus any tip is simply paid back from your next paycheck. So imagine this. Your daughter's school shoes are on sale, but payday's not until Friday. Well, with Earn In, you don't have to wait. Or maybe you got a surprise dinner plan with someone special. Don't put it off. That's the kind of financial momentum that Earn In gives you. Millions of people are using it. I wish I had Earn In back in the day when I first started it out, especially when you're trying to balance bills, gigs, and unexpected stuff like a vet bill or even car repairs. So download Earn In today. That's EARNIN in the Google Play or Apple App Store. And when you do, type in Hall of Fame under podcast when you sign up. That's Hall of Fame under podcast. It really helps the show and helps you get paid when you need it most. Earn In is a financial technology company. It's not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors. Standard cash outs take 1 to 2 business days. Expedited transfers are available for a fee. Tips are voluntary and don't affect the service. Available in select states. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details. Make Earn In a part of your financial routine and join over 4 million people using it to turn any day into payday. It's your money. Take control of it with Earn In.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy, Booker T. And before we get rolling today, man, this message right here is sponsored by Raycon.
That's right, Book. Raycon's everyday earbuds have officially become the go-to gift for this holiday season. They sound great. They look great. They last all day long and then some with 32 hours of battery life.
Yeah, dog. And that's no cap, man. These things are built for real life, and I wear mine all the time, and they stay in place. They don't fall out, and they're comfortable as can be. Over 4 million people already got a pair, man. And if you've been curious, now is the time. Oh, yeah.
You're right, BT, because here's the deal. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Raycon is giving up to 30% off all products. It's perfect for gifting. And if you're like me, you're going to keep a couple pairs for yourself.
You know me, man. I love my gadgets, man. And these everyday earbud classics are loaded with upgrades. You got that active noise cancellation, multi-connectivity, and you can hook up to 2 devices at once. And they got that ergonomic fit. Stay put no matter what you're doing, man. Oh, yes.
And the colors, I love them. I'm rocking with that cool mint, but they also got blush violet. They got matte black. They got all kinds of different options. It's not just earbuds. It's an accessory that matches your vibe.
And get this, you can quick charge these bad boys. 10 minutes get you 90 minutes of playtime. 32 hours total with the Case Plus awareness mode. I love it, man. You could use it when you walking the dog. You know, me and Rover, we do it all the time, and you can still hear everything going on around you. That's a game changer. Oh, yes, man.
Yeah, man, I actually use these every day, and I mean it. I use this. Booker uses this. We all use Raycon, so you should use them too. Over 3 million people have already got them, man. 3 million, 4 million, 5 million. It's going to keep on coming. And they come with a 30-day happiness guarantee. So if you don't love them, no worries. Easy return.
That's right, dog. Nothing to lose, but everything, and I mean everything, to gain.
So don't wait. Raycon is going big for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Everything's up to 30% off. Just click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/booker. That's buyraycon.com/booker, Booker, and save on Raycon audio products site-wide. All right, guys, Brad Gilmore here from the Hall of Fame. I want to talk to you a second because this has been happening a lot lately. A whole lot. I don't know if it's just the holiday season, but it feels like every week someone's trying to run some kind of scam. I'm talking about fake tracking numbers. I'm talking about fake shopping sites, the whole gambit. I even had one come through that looked real enough that I almost clicked it, but the boat's not going to fall for that. But some people might. I almost have before. It's almost happened to me before, where you get that thing that says, hey, here's your tracking number. You ordered this, or this was charged this much on this account. And you're like, what is that? And you click it, and then, oh my gosh, they have your whole identity. Because look, around the holidays, you need to forget it because that's when scammers are out here trying to get busy because they know that we're busy. Everyone becomes the target for scams during this time. That's why Cash App builds in protection to help keep your money safe while you're checking off that holiday list. If you're about to spend some money for somebody or to somebody for a deal that's too good to be true, Cash App will flag it as a potential scam. They'll warn you before you send the money. Cash App also gives you an extra layer of protection, which with features like the security lock. You can require a PIN, Face ID, or fingerprint to unlock your account and move money. So even if someone gets a hold of your unlocked phone at a holiday party, your money's right where you left it. Gift yourself some peace of mind this holiday season with Cash App. For a limited time, new Cash App customers can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real. Just download the Cash App, use our exclusive referral code, SECURE10, and send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's it. It's Cash App. Yes, that is Cash App, baby. Cash App is a financial service platform. It's not a bank. Banking services are provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. See terms and conditions at cash.app/legal/US/EN-US-card-agreement. Promotions provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures. And while I have you, here's what I want to talk about now. I want to talk about Mars men. Yes, let's be real. Come on, guys. I don't think we talk about this stuff enough. I'm in my early 30s now, almost 33 years of age, and out of nowhere, it felt like a switch flipped. I was still working out, still eating the same, still doing the things that I've always did, but the energy just wasn't there. Nobody warned you about that, right? One day you're flying through your day, hitting the gym, getting work done, feeling sharp, and then the next day, it's like you're wading through the mud. Everything feels heavier, everything feels lower, and you're thinking, man, is this just what getting older is all about? Well, here's the wild part. Most men are losing testosterone around the age of 30, about 1% every year. I didn't even know that until it hit me personally. And then I learned that it's honestly crazy. Your body makes testosterone, but a ton of it gets locked away. There's a big protein called SHBG. Think about it like it's testosterone handcuffs. Even if your body is producing enough testosterone, SHBG locks it up so you can't actually access it. It's like having money in your account, but your debit card won't swipe. And that's why I started using Mars Med. And here's what I love about it. It's designed to help free up that locked up testosterone in your body. And it can actually do what it does. And it actually uses what your body already has. So we're not talking about no needles. We're no synthetics. No anything. Just real ingredients. And man, does the difference feel so real. Keep this bottle right here, okay? It's right here on my desk, okay? And guess what? The workouts, they feel stronger, faster recovery, and steady, natural energy throughout the day. Not the shaky caffeine buzz. This is like a clean internal engine turning back on. More focus, more drive, more of that. I'm feeling like me again. And all natural stuff. I'm talking about Tongkat Ali, Shilajit, vitamin C, zinc, boron, 8 clinically dosed ingredients made in the USA, third-party tested, and even have a 90-day money-back guarantee. So what's the worst case? You try it, it's not your thing, cool. But over 91% of users report higher energy levels, and the reviews are crazy. Thousands of guys are talking about how good they feel. Now, let me give you this deal because it's a wild one. For a limited time, only get 60% off for life and 2 free gifts when you use promo code BOOKER at mengotomars.com. Excuse me, that's mengotomars.com. mengotomars.com. Use the promo code BOOKER, BOOKER. And after you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that the Hall of Fame sent you. Now, can you dig that? Back to this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful program.
WrestleMania season, and I got a couple of guests that's going to be on here with me today. One of them is the advocate, the one behind the one, Paul Heyman. He's going to be on the show in the second half, but I want to talk about my guest that's going to be on coming up right now in just a second. He is a guy that I had a feud with back in 2011, and he's a guy that back then he was Cody Rhodes. Now he insists on being called Stardust. So today we bring to you Stardust. What's going on, man? Star, you there?
I am indeed, Mr. Book.
Hey, what's going on, man? I know you're getting, anxious. It's that time again, WrestleMania season. How you feeling?
The jitters. As this big ball of water we call Earth calls the butterflies. You know all about the butterflies, Mr. Spinaroo, right? It's the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah. I am Mr. Spinaroo.
You are Mr. Spinaroo.
It's been a big change in the attitude, and I got to talk about that. But before I do, I must say, how's your dad? I got a lot of love. I got a lot of love for Dusty. How's he doing, and how's the relationship since the big fallout?
I believe, Mr. Spinaroo, you subscribe to the theory that Stardust and Cody Rhodes are one and the same. Is that correct?
Yes. I mean, I would imagine, yes.
That Cody Rhodes paints his face and becomes the celestial Mevlar being that is Stardust. This is the theory you subscribe to.
I mean, I would imagine, yes, that's what's portrayed on television, that you have evolved into now this new aura. I mean, yeah. Tell me, before we get to that, how's your brother? Me and your brother, we got a relationship. Goldust, former tag team champions, WWE. Your brother, how's that relationship going? Because before you say anything, me and my brother, we had a falling out, as the world know, and it happened. It lasted for 5 years. Then come back together to the Hall of Fame. And now me and my brother, we look at each other and say, man, how stupid were we not speaking and being on, good terms, for missing all of those Christmases and whatnot. How's the relationship with the brother, bro?
Well, family is as important as you've implied. Family is everything. And the Hall of Famer that is Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. I have nothing but love for Dusty Rhodes. I was honest with Big Daddy. I told him how I felt. Things were on the table. And I think him and I have moved on. Goldie, on the other hand, I don't know if him and I have moved on. But it's not a matter of love. I love Goldust, and I love Dusty Rhodes. It's a matter of business. And I think you know something a little bit about this. Business continues to move on. Evolution, the growing, the star becoming a supernova. And certain people get in the way, and I feel you might have been privy to that. You might have seen that. You might have witnessed that between Goldust and Stardust. But it has nothing to do with love. I have nothing but love for the Rhodes family.
Okay, all right. Well, fast forward a little bit. Back in the day, Gorgeous George, he kicked that that aura of going out there and being flamboyant and so different than anybody else. And then you had Adrian Adonis come along, Adrian Street. And then you had Gold Dust, Shattered Dreams Production, who came out there and pretty much broke the mold as far as a guy going out there and being totally over the top. What's different about Stardust?
Ooh, what's the same about Stardust? I think on the surface, people saw Goldust, and they saw Goldust perhaps his little brother, and they see him in gold and black, and he's got a star on his face, and they're wearing the same Mevlar bodysuit. They must be so similar. They must have this androgynous personality, this cutting-edge Goldust-like fervor about them, and that wasn't the case. Matter of fact, that might even be why Gold and Stardust are no longer a tag team. Difference is everything in sports entertainment. Like you said, Gorgeous George throwing his hairpins into the crowd, Goldust caressing his own opponent, Adrian Street wearing makeup, how unheard of. But Stardust, to give you a little acronym, TBD.
What was
to
that?
be determined.
Okay.
Every day Stardust changes. Every day. Every episode of Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, even WrestleMania. The paint colors aren't just random chaos. They're not just madness. They signify things. Like today, this week, there's been a solar eclipse. And with a solar eclipse, Stardust changes.
Wow. That's deep, man. That's some deep talk. This is
You're a deep guy.
Yeah, I am.
We're deep here.
This is a heated conversation. Sports Radio 610 on the line with me right now. Stardust heading into WrestleMania. What is it going to take for Stardust to get to that, that next level? You know what I mean? You got this big matchup coming at WrestleMania, this ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship title. And, and as I remember, the guy, your alter ego, if I could say that, Cody Rhodes, if I could just speak his name for a second, he was the guy that brought that, classic white Intercontinental Championship back to the WWE. He said he was going to bring it back to its prominence. He said he was going to give the Intercontinental Championship back all of its glory. And what happened seemed like somewhere along the way you stalled.
Ooh, nasty word. But I don't know if you're entirely at fault for that word, or if that's even untrue.
What word? What are you talking about? Stalled?
Stalled.
Oh, okay.
Perhaps Cody Rhodes did stall. Perhaps that's even the reason for said evolution. Perhaps if Stardust and Cody Rhodes are one and the same, but you said it yourself, actually, to answer the former, to answer your original question. What does it take to get Stardust to the next level? And it literally is in the title of the match. He has to climb the ladder. He has to climb it faster. He has to climb it better than 6 of the world's finest and obtain what isn't the Intercontinental Championship. No, it's a bigger piece in the puzzle. It's a cosmic clock book. It's just ticking, tick, 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 tick. It's the Ivory Enterprise. Okay. Could you imagine a world where you're on commentary out there and Stardust, who said he was going to get the cosmic key, and he did, and says he's going to get the Ivory Enterprise, and he did. Could you imagine?
Wow.
Whew.
We got about 3 minutes left, and I want to play a little game with you, before we get off a heated conversation here real quick with Booker T on Sports Radio 610. If you want to weigh in on the conversation, follow us on sportsradio610.com. You want to follow me on Twitter? That's at Booker T58. I forgot, Brad Gilmore's not here today. He will be back next week for all the Brad Gilmore fans. I just want to throw Brad plug. But a game of what have you done for me lately? Daniel Bryan last year won the championship. Dolph Ziggler, Rolling Stone Wrestler of the Year. Luke Harper, one-time Intercontinental Champion, defeated Dolph Ziggler. Dean Ambrose held the U.S. Championship for almost a calendar year. R-Truth stole the Intercontinental Championship 4 times in the last 4 weeks. What have Cody Rhodes done for me lately, and what is he going to do at WrestleMania?
I need you to rephrase the question and call me by the name you know I like.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Stardust. My bad. I apologize.
It's a heated conversation.
I'm sorry. I apologize. That was my fault. I'll throw that out there.
So what have I done for you lately? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And what are you going to do at WrestleMania to change all this in 2 minutes?
WrestleMania, 6 of the world's finest, Dolph Ziggler, Daniel Bryan, Luke Harper, R-Truth, Dean Ambrose. Those gentlemen, they're going to steal the show, and while they're stealing the show, and while they're having the match of their life, and while they're going to go straight through the curtain and say, hey guys, follow that, they can do all that wonderful stuff. Stardust is quite simply going to just win the match. It's not about stealing the show. It's not about some fancy fall off a ladder. It's about climbing it, obtaining the Ivory Enterprise. I mean, what has Stardust done for you lately? Stardust has done everything for you lately. He changed the way things are. He changed everyone's fortune. He created the hot potato when he attacks the dirty, dirty yes man. That is what Stardust is going to do. He's not going to steal the show. He's going to win the match.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Stardust from the WWE. I want to thank Stardust for coming in and giving us his opinion, his thoughts on what's going to happen at WrestleMania. Will he grab and capture that cosmic key? It's going to happen in less than 2 weeks away at WrestleMania. Guys, you don't want to miss out. Thank you, Stardust, for coming on. Up next, I want to say this guy, you're going to love him. He is the advocate. He is the one behind the one. Man, what a conversation there with Stardust. Got to give him his props. He came in here and told it like it was. He's still chasing the cosmic key, but we're going to shift gears and get into a a heated conversation because I've got a lot of questions. And the man on the line right now is going to get a chance to answer all the questions. He is the advocate, the one behind the one. He is Paul Heyman. What's going on, Paul?
How are you, sir?
Hey, man, I'm doing good, man. It's WrestleMania season. For me, this time of the season, I always had butterflies. You going into something really, really big. Just before we even get started, how you feeling right now?
With my hands.
No, about the big matchup between Brock Lesnar, the Beast, against Roman Reigns.
It's funny. I don't usually get nerves going into big events. I have the easiest job in the world. I get to speak on behalf of a once-in-a-lifetime athlete. It's not someone that's going to be going in and out of the main event picture. It's not someone that's going to struggle to stay in championship form. I advocate for the only man in history to ever hold the NCAA Division I heavyweight championship, the undisputed UFC heavyweight championship, and the undisputed WWE heavyweight championship. So, when you get to advocate for Brock Lesnar, I don't really have a lot of reason to be nervous. I get nervous about the elements. Will it rain at WrestleMania? Will the people that fly in from all around the world have enough money to buy all the merchandise that we're putting out this year? That's the only thing I get nervous about.
When I was coming up, there was a guy by the name of Gary Hart. And you remind me a whole lot. About Gary, like Gary Hart. Maybe you guys could be totally different. But he used to always say, I'm just a consultant. That always used to get me. I'm just a consultant. It made him sound so important. But did you know Gary Hart?
I did know Gary Hart. I met Gary Hart in WCW in the very end of 1988 and beginning of 1989, and he came in with the Great Muta. And I had admired Gary's work, especially with Abdullah. Gary was the perfect manager, the perfect consultant for Abdullah, because he always had that plausible deniability of, don't go near the butcher shall not go near you. And, and then when the butcher, of course, would do something so heinous that it would mandate a fine or a suspension, Gary would come on television and say, well, as long as I can't be the one to pay the money, and the butcher doesn't like to fork over the cash. So I liked him. I liked his work. I liked his style. I also like the fact that Gary never raised his voice.
Yeah.
Never found the need to raise his voice because he never took anything personally. He was just a consultant.
Just a consultant. You know, this is a heated conversation. Sports Radio 610. We're talking to Paul Heyman. Paul, like me, born 1965. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Scarsdale, New York.
A very good year, I might add.
Yeah, it was a really good year. Muhammad Ali was kicking a lot of behind in that era right there. That's what I remember so much about going back to that time. You're a family man. You have 2 kids, just like myself. What is it like being a family man? As well as being Paul Heyman, the advocate.
Well, you know, it's funny because at home there's not a lot of hey, my name is Paul Heyman. It's Daddy, and usually the answer I get is no. It's everything, you know. It's the difference between when you're younger and you're in this industry, you tend to live to work, and as you get older with a family, you hopefully evolve into a situation where you work to live. So my children are the difference between being obsessed and consumed with this industry 24/7, 365, and understanding truly what my priorities are, which is to support my family and provide a future for my children based on the skills that I've developed within this industry since I broke in.
You know, let's talk about providing. Your father was a attorney in the Bronx. He served in the U.S. Navy. How did that, reflect on the man Paul Heyman and what you became?
Well, I think what you see on television today is an embellished version of what I grew up watching, which was my father in the courtroom. You know, I took the term advocate because that's what lawyers call themselves in a courtroom. They're merely the advocate for their client. If Brock Lesnar were to be brought in front of a judge and he would be charged with the crime of greatness, for which, by the way, he would absolutely have to plead guilty, Brock would never address the judge. The judge would address Brock's advocate and, say, how does your client plead? Well, Your Honor, I've spoken to my client, and as his advocate, I hereby enter the plea of, to the charge of greatness, I enter the plea of guilty. So your lawyer is your advocate in the courtroom, which is where I blatantly stole the terminology of advocate, and just watching how my father manipulated the mindset in the courtroom and how he owned the temperature and how he owned the tempo of the proceedings. That's just what I do on television now. It's just an embellished version of what I watched my dad doing growing up.
You know, your mother, she was a Holocaust survivor. You definitely had to come from humble upbringings. What was that one thing your mother taught you that you take and keep with you all the way to the end?
It was her drive. Absolutely her drive. It was never one specific piece of advice that she gave. It was that every single breath that she took was taken with such intensity that I was, not just me, but anybody who was around her had to be in awe of her because she got more out of every moment in life than anybody I've ever met, because she savored every moment because she saw how fleeting life could be. So she approached, it's the old thing that I'm sure you teach your students. One of the things that you learn in this industry from the very beginning is never take no for an answer. And my God, did she live that to the umph degree. There was never take no for an answer. Yeah. Never back down from your dreams. Never forsake your passions. If you want something bad enough, keep on going for it until you get it, no matter how many times you have to go for it, and never get discouraged from it, because the greatest price you're going to pay of falling short is just disappointment. And that's not that bad of a price to pay compared to the price that she paid as a child. So she never found any dishonor or any fear of disappointment.
This is Paul Heyman on Heated Conversation, Sports Radio 610. Paul, I'm going to be actually doing a big event next month, April 12th, is for a Holocaust survivor. He's going to be turning 100 years old. And I'm putting together his bucket list, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Bret the Hitman Hart, Ivan Putski. Would love for you to be a part of that. We can talk about that later. We can talk about that a little later. But, everybody know about, Heyman Hustle. Everybody know about Paul E. Dangerously. But I want to take it back a little bit even further than that. I want to talk about the kid. I want to talk about the boy growing up in Scarsdale, New York, the 9-year-old boy. What was it like as a kid? Because I always like to let people see that kid before he was the man that he is today. So what was it like for you?
It's funny because people that knew me back then will just sit there and tell you, yeah, he's exactly who we thought. He grew up to be exactly who we thought he was going to grow up to be. I owned my first business at 11 years old. I used to sell movie posters and movie memorabilia through a post office box right down the road from our house. I sold that at 13 and started a wrestling publication and started selling pictures. And then at 14, BS'd my way, hustled my way into Madison Square Garden to give pictures to Vince McMahon's father, Vince McMahon Sr., who would pay me every month to then bring him more pictures. And I was always hustling. I was always just doing something in and around this business. From the time I was 13, I was quite obsessed with it. I enjoyed doing things on my own. I enjoyed the writing aspect of it. I enjoyed capturing a moment in terms of photography, or directing a backstage photo shoot. So it's really what I ended up doing with my life. What I did as a kid was really the training ground for what I ended up doing as an adult. There's really not much difference. I'm probably a little, believe it or not, softer spoken now than I was back then, and I'm a little more mindful of the diplomacy of the things that I say. But besides that, I'm pretty much exactly who I was at 9, 10, and 11 years old.
Like Nino Brown, New Jack City, you had the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes.
At 11 years old, you know what I mean, to start your own business, memorabilia. 13, you get your own photo lab, started, the guys you was around at that time, some guys like Captain Lou Albano, Freddie Blassie, the Grand Wizard. As a young kid, take me back there. What was that like, you actually being around some of the guys you perhaps idolized?
Well, it was a very interesting era because they had the monopoly on being a manager in the Northeast for Vince McMahon Sr. So there was no other manager that was going to break in to the WWF. Nobody was going to get, and there's a very famous story that the number one TV star in 1981 was Andy Kaufman. And Andy Kaufman was the biggest star on the biggest show, Taxi. And Taxi was such a huge show that when its third season was up at NBC and its contract was up with the network, it became the first network television show to jump networks. James L. Brooks jumped the show from NBC to ABC because it was that big of a show, and jumping networks was unheard of. And still to this day, I think only one or two other shows has ever done that without a cancellation. At the height of the program, he switched networks. Andy Kaufman was the biggest star on the show. Wow. And he had done legendary appearances on Saturday Night Live and on David Letterman's morning show back then, as well as his then new late night show. And Andy Kaufman came to Madison Square Garden with Freddie Blassie, whom he had met in Los Angeles, and pitched to Vince McMahon Sr. that Andy Kaufman could become the fourth manager in the territory, in the WWF. And all he wanted to do was go out to the race at Madison Square Garden, and he would do it for free.
Wow.
and he would do it and notify all the media in advance. He would pay for the publicists and everything else, and he wanted, and it could be anybody of Vince McMahon's choosing, Vince McMahon Sr. we're talking about, and Andy was willing to do anything, say anything, get his ass kicked. It didn't matter. He wanted to manage in Madison Square Garden, and Vince Sr. wouldn't do it because, number one, he didn't want an outsider in the business. Number two, he thought celebrity involvement would hurt the business, not help it. But most of all, number three, he was not going to violate the monopoly that was owned by Lou Albano, Fred Blassie, and the Grand Wizard in being the only three managers in the Northeast. When Vince, the current Vince, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, took over from his father, one of his first big moves was he brought in three different managers. The Grand Wizard had already died. Blassie was with the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov, and Vince brought in Jimmy Hart, Bobby Heenan, and a third person that he didn't believe was going to become a wrestler here, that he was only going to use as a manager and a talk show host, named Roddy Piper. And Piper was going to manage Big John Studd and Paul Orndorff. But Piper got over so hard and so fast to the public and got his message across so well, and people were aching to see him get beat up, that Vince had no choice but to put him back in the ring.
Wow. You know, guys, you guys just got an exclusive right here. Paul Heyman, the advocate. Stick around, because coming up next, we're going to talk about Paul Heyman, him promoting in New York City nightclub Studio 54. Stick around. On the line with Paul Heyman, the one behind the one, talking about life, talking about Paul Heyman, the boy that's grown up to be the man. And I want to talk about the promoter, Paul Heyman, at 20 years old, promoting at Studio 54 back in the 80s. What was that like, man? Because it had to be crazy. It had to be totally off the hook.
You know, it's funny. I was just during the commercial break talking to my daughter, and I was just realizing that I started at Studio 54 exactly 30 years ago this week. It was 1985, and Studio had already gone through the Ian Schrager, Steve Rubel era, and it was owned by a New York entrepreneur named Mark Fleischman. And Fleischman brought in a character who was akin to Humphrey Bogart as Rick in Casablanca, guy by the name of Worsham Rudd, R-U-D-D. I encourage everyone to Google that man. He ran New York City nightclubs back in the day, like the Copacabana and Regine's and the Red Parrot. And you talk about the heyday of the New York City nightclubs. This guy ran them all. And he, in 1985, was brought in to run Studio 54. And he was looking to run it a different way than most other people had run it into the ground before him. And just at the beginning of his run there, I happened to show up one night for a charity event with a bunch of the wrestlers that were working for Vern Gagne and Jim Crockett Jr.'s Pro Wrestling USA promotion. And I wanted to take a bunch of pictures of the wrestlers with the celebrities. And I just happened to get my foot in the door on that particular evening and ingratiated myself to management, including Worsham Rudd at Studio 54, and got invited to come back, and then just started hustling. Just started pitching myself for every job that was available that I was interested in. So I started out as a photographer. I became one of the house photographers at Studio. I graduated to becoming a publicist. And from a publicist, I ended up being a producer and a promoter on Friday night shows because one of the key promoters had jumped ship to the Palladium. and the Palladium was going to become the biggest nightclub in New York City. And so they were raiding all of the top promoters and publicists at Studio 54. And I went to management and said, well, I'll stay if you give me Friday nights. So I ended up producing and promoting on Friday nights back in 1985 at Studio 54. And, I mean, we're talking, on Friday nights, these were concerts by people like Liza Minnelli, Alicia, who was a Madonna ripoff back then, who sang a song called All Night Passion, Shaka Khan. It's not that many places in the world where a 19-year-old Jewish kid can produce and promote Shaka Khan. But I got to do it, and then we ended up doing, parties for Purple Rain with Prince. I mean, it was the world's most famous nightclub, and I was just in the right place at the right time, and nobody realized that I was 19 years old because the legal drinking age was 21, because they never asked me, and so I never told them. It was the age equivalent of don't ask, don't tell, and there was no reason for me to tell them because I had the run of the joint, and I brought a youthful enthusiasm, and plus I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do drugs. And I can pretty much attest to the fact that everybody in that nightclub drank and smoked and did a lot of drugs. So I was the only one that was there that was sober and straight. And so I got to pull things off that were my dreams because everybody else was too high to notice.
Paul, I want to throw a name out there, a guy that, perhaps was instrumental in your career when you guys started, definitely was instrumental in my career. If it weren't for him, I probably wouldn't be having this heated conversation with you right now. But the name is Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert.
Well, it's funny because the relationship that I had with Eddie Gilbert was very much repeated with the roles reversed many years later with CM Punk, and my friendship and on-air relationship with CM Punk reminded me a lot of my younger days with my relationship with Eddie, because Eddie was a great teacher of mine. I got the benefit of learning from a lot of great minds in this business. Because, again, going back to never take no for an answer, I wasn't shy, and I was uninhibited enough to ask them questions. So if I had a question about how storylines would be developed or how television could be produced or how you build to a big show or how you approach certain camera angles, I never minded going to Vince Sr. I never minded going to Dusty Rhodes. I never minded going to Kevin Sullivan. I never minded going to Eddie Gilbert. And Eddie and I performed on television as well as worked behind the scenes together. So in many ways, I was like a little brother to him and learned so much from him and was never shy. Most mentor-protege relationships, the protege is inhibited or discouraged from speaking his mind or offering a contrarian opinion. What made Eddie and me click was that we had different opinions. So he would say, hey, why don't we approach this from the left and do 1, 2, 3. And I'd say, well, if we approach it from the right, we can do 7, 8, 9. And so we'd find something in the middle that was 4, 5, 6 that appeased both of our concerns and addressed both of the things that we were passionate about. So the same thing happened with Punk years later, in that when I was trying to teach Punk the inner workings of the industry, how to fill out a TV sheet, how to write television, the different ways you can use cameras to your advantage, Punk and I were very rarely of the same mindset. I would look at things one way, he'd look at things another, and somewhere in the middle we could collaborate our visions to make both of our ideas better.
Right. I totally understand, And you keep setting me up perfect in the segue as far as speaking your mind. In the early 90s, WCW came calling. They needed a voice. Then was created the Dangerous Alliance. Rick Rude, Medusa, Bobby Eaton, Arn Anderson, Larry Zbyszko going into the Hall of Fame 2015. Give it up for Larry. Got to give it. I just had to put that plug in there. But how did you feel working for that company back in the 90s? There was a lot of brains, a lot of heads, a lot of moving pieces. What was your role back then?
Well, it's funny because looking back on it now, I'm amazed at how impossible it would be for someone to pull off what I didn't realize I was actually pulling off. I started in WCW at 23 years old. I don't know who else could get that platform at that age anymore. There are guys right now who are ready for prime time that are waiting for their call-ups in NXT who are 28, 29, 30 years old and who are clearly ready for prime time. So I'm sitting here in WCW at 23 years old, and I get a platform, I get a spotlight, I get an opportunity to go on national TV in a manner that is not repeated anymore. So I can't tell you just how extraordinary the opportunity was, because no one of that age gets that opportunity anymore.
Definitely was a different time, different period. Just one story, going back to Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. Hot Stuff got me and my brother our break. My brother showed up for a tryout, and I was just tagging along with him. He goes, who's this guy? That's my brother, So Hot Stuff made us a tag team. He said, you guys are going to be great. Going to put suits on you guys. You guys going to, dress real nice, show up to the building. We're going to make you guys the global world tag team champions. It's going to be great. And I was like, man, this is going to be cool, So we leave and, we go back to Houston, get everything all set up and come back the following week down to Dallas, Texas Sportatorium. I'm sure you know that building very, very well.
I do. I didn't get a chance to perform there that often. The first time I actually got to work in the Sportatorium was actually for WCW.
Yeah.
But yes, what an amazing arena.
It was. We show up, and me and my brother, we all ready to get our stuff done. We show up. Where's Eddie? And Mike Davis. He comes up and he say, Eddie's not here. And we said, well, where is he? Eddie got fired. We're like, wait a minute. Eddie had this big gimmick for us and everything. He said, well, the only thing we can do is give you a tryout. So we went from being big stars, to getting the tryout. And somehow, some way, it worked out for us. But we made it. But this is Heated Conversation on Sports Radio 610 here with the Advocate, Paul Heyman. Stick around with us for this next segment, guys, because we're going to be talking to Paul Heyman, the visionary behind the revolutionary Extreme Championship Wrestling. Stick around. We'll be back in a minute. On the line with Paul Heyman, talking about just about a little bit of everything, but right now we're finna kick it into another gear. I just called him the visionary behind the Revolutionary Extreme Championship Wrestling, born 1993 to 2001. It was an awesome company. Tell me a little bit about your vision. Extreme Championship Wrestling started out Eastern Championship Wrestling. Why the big change?
Well, number one, Eastern it's so regional, and then I had no desire to just do regional promotion.
Hey, before you get started, you are the reason why I call my wrestling promotion Reality of Wrestling. It used to be called the Pro Wrestling Alliance, and it just didn't sound right. When I say now the Reality of Wrestling, it means something. So I want to give you all of the credit for helping me come up with that name and that moniker, the Reality of Wrestling. You can go to realityofwrestling.com. We have a local show here that comes on every Saturday night at 1 a.m. on the Cube. So guys, check that out. But I didn't mean to cut you off, Paul. Give me your thoughts.
No, not at all. And I humbly accept the compliment. Thank you, sir. First of all, Eastern was regional. I had no desire to do a regional promotion. That wasn't my goal. I thought that the industry was ripe for the taking. And I thought we were going to come in and we had a shot at replacing the third big promotion. That with the AWA folding, that there was room for a third promotion in the United States. One was obviously, the big one, which was WWE, back then WWF, owned, but by a third-generation promoter named Vince McMahon. The other was WCW, already owned now by Ted Turner, and on TBS, not even yet on TNT. That came around in '95. And I thought, okay, here we go. We have a chance to change the industry. The industry was so far behind the times and had not caught up with music and pop culture and references because the people that were running the industry were, and this is why this will sound funny, but they were exactly the age that we are now, except they didn't have their finger on the pulse. WCW, not at all. Not at all. And just to show you how behind the times they were, one of the first things that we did in ECW, and this is when we were still Eastern, though clearly the concept was to be extreme, was we put a music video together for the Public Enemy, and we used Slam by Onyx. Now, I have to tell you, Onyx, back in 1993, was a fairly well-known hip-hop group that, if you're in 1993, if you don't know who Onyx is, you're not paying attention to music.
Most of the brothers around the city think it's a strip club.
I can't touch that one. And I have to plead.
I'm just saying.
And we used MC Light's Roughneck for Mr. Hughes. And I remember getting phone calls from people in what's now WWE and what was then WCW, and they're saying, "What kind of music are you using? What is that? What country did you find that in? What country? What country did you find that in?" I was like, "Wait a minute. Do you even read the charts? Do you pick up Billboard?" Yes. What's the number one hip-hop song right now? Slam by Onyx. What's number 3? Roughneck by MC Light. And you guys don't know that? You guys can't see that? You guys don't pay attention to it? Yeah, but it's not in our community. Yeah. And it was such a homogenized business that had no feel for the street. Zero.
Yeah.
Zero. I mean, none. So I figured here's an opening for us.
Before I got the show kicked off, I didn't get a chance to say it, but you are a genius, Paul. I just wanted to get that out there, because the reason I say that, I'm going to throw some names out there. Public Enemy, Balls Mahoney, the Dudleys, Johnny Swinger, the Blue Meanie. Nowhere, I don't think in any other promotion. Of course, the Dudleys, those guys had talent. They perhaps could have fought their way out of it. But, you put those guys in a position where they could succeed, all of them. And I want to know, what was the method of your madness as far as, creating stars? You was like, Lex Luthor, criminal genius, putting that stuff together,
I'm very flattered by what you're saying. I thank you very much for it. But here's the biggest problem with our business. People overthink it. It's really very, very simple. It's not rocket science. You take someone's personality, you find something in that personality that resonates with an audience, and you spotlight it. You hide the weaknesses, you accentuate the strengths. That's it. And the best example that I can give you is I've survived now as a performer in this business for 28 years. And in those 28 years, I have lasted and now part of the main event of WrestleMania. And in all those years, I guarantee you've never seen me throw a drop kick off the top rope.
Mm-hmm. No.
And there's a reason for it. One, I can't do it. And two, even if I could, I shouldn't, because it doesn't fit what the public would look at me to do the best. You put a microphone in my hand, I'll sell you a pay-per-view. I'll sell you a network subscription. I'll sell a seat, because that's what I do, and I try to do it better than anybody else. So therefore, what do you do with Paul Heyman? You put a microphone in his hand. What do you do with Brock Lesnar? That's why Brock doesn't like to talk on television, because he can't be the best at it. But no one can match what he can do physically, so you let Brock do physically what Brock does. And the same thing would go for a Balls Mahoney or a Raven or a Tommy Dreamer or a Taz or a Sabu or a Booker T or a Harlem Heat or anybody else. What does this person do? What's one thing this person does that's theirs, that identifies them, that brands them as them, and tell them to go out and do that and let the audience get behind them doing it? Sandman. The greatest example of this is Sandman.
Exactly
what
right.
did Sandman do?
Nothing.
That man could drink a beer.
He looked good doing it.
And he could smash that beer can into his forehead. And so what did we have him do? We played his entrance music, and even when he had to make a save, it took him 5.5 minutes. Why? Because people wanted to sing the song. And watch this guy drink beer, and he could drink 12 beers going to the ring. So he drank 12 beers going to the ring, smoked a bunch of cigarettes, and smashed the beer cans into his forehead until he was bleeding profusely, and people loved it. Yeah. And if that's what people paid to see this guy walk around the ring smashing beer cans into his forehead, and they were willing to pay for a ticket, who am I to say, no, he has to do promos and throw drop kicks off the top rope? Why? That's not genius. That's just avoiding my own stupidity.
Oh, man, real quick, how chaotic was it on any given night at the ECW arena?
Oh, yeah. Well, are we talking on the nights that we had full-blown riots or only half riots, depending on what Bubba Ray Dudley decided to say to the audience?
Hey, man, I got this thing, man, I call it my Fave 5. I'm gonna throw out my Fave 5, and I want you to tell me, what does these men have in common? Perhaps those men are Brock Lesnar, the current champion, Big Show, Kurt Angle, Rob Van Dam, and CM Punk. All men that you have managed to greatness. What do those men have in common?
Besides that, they were all WWE champions.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to tangle with any of those guys in a street fight.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Hey, man, we're gonna move a little bit forward because I got about 5 minutes left on the show, and I got to put you on the heat seat, Paul Heyman. It's something that I do every week. I put guys on the heat seat and, fire off the question and see if I can get the answer that I'm looking for. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. My first question is this. Going into WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar is the champion. He's, right now it seems like he's unbeatable. But the one thing I think working against Brock Lesnar going into this match against Roman Reigns is he is 37 years old, and Roman is 29 years old. Do you think the age difference is going to play a difference?
I think the age difference may play a difference 20 years from now, but not now. Brock is, and here's the best example of it. The greatest pitcher in the history of Major League Baseball was Satchel Paige. And he didn't pitch his first ball in the majors until he was 46 years old. Now, people can sit there and say, well, imagine if he had pitched when he was 26 or 36. But he pitched at 46 and no one could touch him. It's the same thing with Brock Lesnar. At 37 years old, Brock Lesnar is healthy for the first time in his life. He has spent most of his adult life battling diverticulitis. He's healthy for the first time. And even if Brock Lesnar at 37 years old is only 65%, and I don't think he is, I think he's 100%, but even if he's 65% of what he was at 25 years old, I think that 65% of Brock Lesnar beats 500% of any other human being on the face of the planet. Wow. I don't think age is a factor here. Okay. 20 years from now, yes, but not now.
This conversation's getting heated. Sports Radio 610, heated conversation, Booker T. Every battle takes a little bit out of the man. Trust me, I know I've been out there in the trenches for quite some time. And Brock Lesnar has been in a lot of battles here in the WWE before, went to the UFC and back. I mean, and just to name one of the battles, Shane Carwin. I've seen Brock Lesnar go out there and get beat like I've never seen a man get beat before, and he came back and submitted that man, a man who was undefeated, if I'm not mistaken, at that time. Let's talk about another man, Alistair Overeem, a guy who fought Brock Lesnar and beat Brock Lesnar. I do think Brock Lesnar was injured. I don't think he was 100% at that time. But it catches up with us all. What do you think about that? Do you think it might catch up with? I think it might catch up with him. What do you think?
The same feeling I have when Floyd Mayweather steps into the ring. How many blows did he take during training camp? And will they affect him on the night of the show? Brock Lesnar is a game day player. And when he gets to step out through that curtain and gets to take center stage in the main event of WrestleMania, I think he is invincible. He is indestructible, and he's impervious to pain.
Well, okay, in 1 minute, we're going to go back to Fastlane. Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. I saw Daniel Bryan win about 65 to 70% of that match and still lost in a definitive loss right in the middle of that ring with a spear right in the middle. What is going to happen when Brock Lesnar throw everything but the kitchen sink at Roman Reigns and this man is still standing out for 30 minutes? What's going to happen if something like that goes on?
I think at that moment, well, it's the same thing that I could say in this. Have you ever seen a wounded animal, and how dangerous does that animal get when he's wounded? An animal's far more dangerous wounded and worried than they are confident and strolling down the boulevard or going through the forest. If Brock Lesnar throws everything he has at Roman Reigns and Roman Reigns is still standing, that may be cause of concern for Brock Lesnar. And what would that beast be like?
Wow. Guys, you heard it here. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you get off the heat seat. But more importantly, Paul, good luck at WrestleMania. And, I appreciate you coming on the show first and foremost. Thank you for coming and giving us some insight on the man behind the man, not the one behind the one. I appreciate you, brother.
Oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you.
See you at WrestleMania.